Collector, and welcome back to the OCA Podcast. That's the Open Chest Anime Podcast with your host, the Anime Collector, and as always, my co-host, Donjobo Agi. Oh, I just took him out of the stream instead of...
Parn. Let's see what's in the Parn. So how you been?
So, I'm still getting used to StreamYard, and I clicked on him the way that you normally would for Google Hangouts, and it pulled him out of the stream entirely. All right, so... we've got some stuff to talk about regarding VIC MIGNOGNA. I'm going to get to that real soon, but first, let me jump. Actually, I got to pull this out to a different things here so I can make sure I don't accidentally screen share the actual stream and have that like black hole of annoying. All right, so here we go. I'm going to share our document here.
Okay.
So first things first, we've got some news about, oh, by the way, YouTube employee who demonetizes me. This is a reference to the Scepter of Domination from Record of Lodos War that we watch for our watch club that gets thrown into a like pit of lava. Don't demonetize me, please. All right. Anyway, so we got to talk about KyoAni. So quick update, the arsonist arrest warrant has been updated to include 35 counts of murder, 35 counts of attempted murder, arson of an inhabited structure, as well as a number of other criminal offenses. However, people are debating whether the arsonist will be spared the death penalty due to mental illness. The school of thoughts are basically that people believe he's mentally ill due to various reasons. And other people are saying, well, even if he is, it seems that he premeditated the attack. He knew what he was doing. He yelled "die" in KyoAni when he was igniting the fire. He bought, gasoline from miles away and trucked it over on like a hand cart and everything. So anyway, this year's Kyoto Animation novel writing contest is being suspended indefinitely. And again, indefinitely is that word that everybody loves to use because it's so ambiguous, because it can literally mean both unlimited or undetermined amount of time. So, likewise, this year's Enjoy the World of KyoAni and Do, this is for Studio Do, event is looking like it will likely be canceled as well. And it turns out that lots of animation materials were housed in a location separate from Studio One and are being displayed in an exhibit. And the exhibition was planned prior to the arson attack, but the materials were actually sent afterwards. So it's very lucky that they managed to salvage those. All right, also real quick. There's a bomb threat sent to Bandai Namco Sankaku Complex. This is related to the KyoAni stuff because oh great, I lost all my highlights. That's just great. Oh, here they are. Mere days after a man in Japan threatened a copycat arson attack against Square Enix, the main U.S. office of Bandai Namco has now been subjected to a bomb. This is the one in California. They said, we can't provide any comment regarding the validity of the threat as there is an ongoing investigation in progress. We can say that all our employees are safe and that we will be doing everything in our power to safeguard the well-being of our employees. It remains to be seen whether or not the threat was made by a random criminal, an individual with an ideological axe to grind, or a consumer angry about the latest Jump Force DLC, which all of those seem like a totally plausible, scenario here. By the way, also FTDM's not going to be here for this podcast. Sorry about that. I should have mentioned that way long ago.
It's strange.
Please close the download bar. Oh, those are my images for what do you call it? For the podcast doc here. Because Augie, the one you posted looked like you took it off of your TV. All right, so let me slow things down.
It was a tube TV.
So we're about to get to the VIC stuff, but let me just go through our normal stuff here.
It's kind of strange that this is like a new ongoing thing, because you have the tragedy of KyoAni, you have the prevention of Square, and now luckily there's a prevention of Namco Bandai. What strange that it's just something people are trying to keep doing.
Well, it's because it got notoriety, and people use that to either get attention or because they see somebody else do it, so it gives them the courage to finally pull off their harebrained, mentally ill scheme. Anyway, this podcast is brought to you by our Patreon. So this Patreon, once again, is strictly for the OCA podcast. All the funds here are for things like paying for our internet, getting us better webcams, better, in this case, funding eventually a, where's my mouse? Oh, I have to, here. That little guy, the powered by StreamYard, if we can get that taken away and remove all limitations on StreamYard and everything. So that's going to be what that's for. The separate Patreon here for the Anime Collector channel is going to be what gets me back into doing tip videos. I added a new tier here. Once we get to $100 of additional funding per each video, I'm going to be doing some Patreon exclusive tip videos that are basically going to be covering things that are useful but might be a little bit shady, or let's say things that the more people who know about them, the less efficient the tip is, right? So anyway, that's a little incentive for you guys there. And it'll also help me to get videos out quicker because I am terribly slow at editing those first impressions. I've got about 14 of them on the docket right now that need to be edited. And I'd like to throw some of them I'm really passionate about and I love jumping into, but other ones like I just want to throw them at somebody else. So that would help me do that. Also, you guys can shop at Stealth Weeb, which is my online shirt store that is totally not utilizing any copyrighted content. And I would be perfectly willing to take things down if and when they were, put on an actual official store. So anyway, and there's also my lovely embroidered polos you guys can get, like such as this one of Captain Ginyu, which is totally amazing and everybody loves it. All right, so here we go into the VIC stuff.
Vic.
So here's the thing. Do you guys remember this tweet from Han Leia? By the way, I just want to say something right now because I'm so tired of everybody not being able to pronounce her name. Well, first of all, she changed her name recently, but it's at Han Leia, as in Han Solo and Princess Leia. I can't believe how many people didn't make that connection and don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, she tweeted this January 16th. This is the day everything kicked off. She said, "Hey, at Funimation, why do you employ a known pedophile?" A friend linked me this content warning. This is like a trigger warning. Underage sexual assault of Nyako, right? Now, that post on Pretty Ugly Little Liars is this post right here. We read this on podcast 45. You guys might remember that when we did podcast 45, that's when the VIC stuff happened. That's when it all dropped. That's when the article from Anime News Network dropped. We covered it. I had spent like that whole friggin' week going over the Tumblr blog. Okay, I had invested a ton of my time going through every single post on that Tumblr blog. I archived that entire Tumblr blog. You can literally go to it right now and view the entire thing because I archived it. I spent my time doing that. And then right before the podcast started, I found this post on Pretty Ugly Little Liars. I had no idea that Han Leia had tweeted it or any of that. I had no idea. And I described this, and I quote, as the only thing I read so far. And again, I read the entire fucking Tumblr blog. This was the only thing I had read that seemed like it could even be remotely credible. Now, there's a lot of things in here that are really stupid, and I definitely think aren't credible. But, so this was posted on the 14th of December, 2018. And people have uncovered that on the 15th of December, 2018, in response to a comment here where somebody said, "Have you ever thought about confronting him? I realized that it would most probably not be a good idea, but have you entertained the idea of it?" Nyako said, "I would consider it if I actually thought he would remember what he did, but because of the kind of person he is, there's no way he even remembers it because it's normal behavior for him. For him, it was just another day at a con, and I was just another fan. I wouldn't be surprised to find out he's done this to other girls or that I wasn't the first. I first considered it when Vic married a 16-year-old to avoid statutory rape charges in 2014. He was facing possible statutory rape charges in Texas, so he took the girl and her mom to Vegas so the mom could sign off on their marriage so he couldn't be charged." Augie, does that sound familiar to you?
No,
That doesn't sound familiar to you?
not that one.
Because Illich Gordiola police arrested voice actor Ilic Guardiola in Harris County, Texas on Thursday for the alleged sexual assault of a child. According to police, Guardiola traveled to Las Vegas 2 weeks earlier and married his 16-year-old student in the presence of her mother.
Was that the one from 2 years ago?
From 2014.
Or a year ago? 2014? Okay.
Right? So,
yeah.
Let me continue this real quick just so we can say that we actually read the whole thing. The names of the mom and daughter weren't in any of the articles I read about it at the time, but 10 out of 10, it is in the public records for Clark County, Nevada, if you know how to find them. And if he is willing to go that far to cover his own ass, you bet there is other sketchy shit we don't know about. So let me just say real quick. First of all, just to clarify once again, I don't consider myself part of I Stand With Vic. I'm also definitely not part of Kick Vic. But I got to say, I'm pretty disappointed in the I Stand With Vic crowd right now. And really, I should say I'm disappointed in myself. Because when I spent all that time on the Tumblr, I naively assumed that somebody else was pouring through Poll in the other sources. You know, I believed, like when I went through the Tumblr and when I archived that stuff from Samantha Inoue Hart the day that she did the fake swatting, I did so because I thought I'm going to go after people that are likely going to get missed, people that other people are probably not going to think of readily. I'm going to try to put my effort there because I knew that Ricada was going to get 1 million copies of the same tweet from 1 million different people. Right? So I went for those ones, thinking that somebody else is handling this. I can't believe that it has taken this long for people to find this message. I also can't believe that people are treating this as though the case is won. Vic wins. This was all a misunderstanding. So let me go back. Let me go back here real quick to the original post, and I want to remind you what she actually said, because there is no way that this post here is about Ilic Guardiola. It's impossible. She said, Vic is a disgusting garbage human. I know this from personal experience. When I was 16, he cornered me in an elevator and put his hand up the back of my skirt. At the time, being a stupid fangirl child, despite the fact that it made me feel disgusting and wrong, I just let it happen. And due to other abuse that was going on in my life at the time, I didn't think anyone would believe me if I told anyone. I thought that I was weird for not wanting it and feeling blah, 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 blah. She said, he was speaking to myself and a friend online and over the phone for months before the con and had even told us we should meet up and hang out in his room at the con. He said, even if we couldn't, I hate this person's grammar so bad. He said, even if we couldn't pay for the con, we could still hang out and have lunch or something. He seemed so nice. He listened to me and let me pour my heart out about my home life. He told me it wasn't my fault. He was so kind. And I thought he actually genuinely cared about me. He spent months gaining my trust and my friend's trust. He paid for our food at that day at the con and even gave my friend a small box filled with Full Metal Alchemist merch and his CDs. Spoiler, they were Bible reading in character voices he had done. Okay. She knew that she was talking about Vic here. I think what happened is that this person, first of all, I definitely think that this story has been debunked. Whole cloth. Because she goes on to say when people press her on it, well, I don't remember. I basically had amnesia during that part of my life, and the only thing I remember is the actual event. But I do remember that I slept in the tub that night, and that we were in like a hotel. And I know that my mom wouldn't have let me go to a convention out of state, so it must have been local to Arizona, but it wasn't in Phoenix because I lived in Phoenix at the time, and therefore I wouldn't have gotten a hotel if it was in Phoenix, because I would have just driven in every day, right? And then people looked around the time frame and found that Vic, the only convention Vic was at in Arizona in the time frame she gave, was in Phoenix, right? Now, I don't know if anybody actually looked up the Ilic Guardiola stuff with the conventions he was at. I find it very unlikely that she actually is confusing him, because she's posting this in a Vic Mignogna thread on Pretty Ugly Little Liars, right? But this is once again just a pounding on Kick Vic's credibility, because this is why you have to vet the credibility of people, why you don't believe everyone just because they claim to be a victim, right?
Right.
But again, I don't think I Stand With Vic people are correct when they say that this changes everything. This doesn't change shit. Nobody cares about this post. Nobody, I mean, let me put it this way. It's not going to help the defendants. It's not going to help Monica and Ron and Marky and Funimation. It's definitely not going to help them, especially because they put some of this stuff in their TCPA motion. I mean, it's going to be quite embarrassing for them, right? But I really don't think this is going to make a difference long term in the case. Now, I want to continue here. Oh, by the way, Monica Rial, fun fact, I also went to college and dated voice actor Illick Guardiola. I see you. So here's the funny thing here. She tweeted this on January 27th, 2014. And this is a picture of this hot stud she's bragging about dating. Well, actually, this isn't even the picture from then. This is like probably even earlier. This is a headshot, but there's a picture of him. He doesn't look he doesn't look like somebody you'd brag about in the article from like 2 months later. Let me click on that one. You guys can see it. I was going to use that one originally, but the other one seemed better. Here we go. October. It's because they've got the mugshot, right? So this is the guy she's bragging about in 2014. By the way, hilariously, a couple months later, he's arrested on charges of sexual assault. That same year that she's tweeting about it. By the way, lovely Lindsay Loveridge, of course, writing about this. I have to think that she has a personal vendetta against, like, she writes all the articles about when this happens, and I have to imagine that has something to do with why she went after Vic in the way that she did. Anyway, you're going to say something, Augie?
Regarding to the voice actress we were talking about, I guess she really knows how to pick them, given what this person's doing and what her current boyfriend is stupidly going around.
Her endless fiance.
Oh, her fiance. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't like to. Like you guys know, I don't really attack the defendants. I mean, I dislike them for who they are in a lot of ways, and I've, criticized their behavior in things, but I don't like to attack them. But boy, is it hard not to attack Toy.
I don't want to attack any of them either, but if you're just sitting there doing something stupid or avoiding the police, I mean, you just don't do that. That's not civil. It's not right.
So I saw this. I saw this story here. So after Stan Dolan, who is the man that Monica claimed in her affidavit was there when she was assaulted, and that he basically knocked on the door and rescued her. This is Stan Dolan's Twitter here. He's been posting con hearsay. And just like sharing stories about things that happened at conventions without giving any details on who the person was and whatnot. Although one of them he did. Nayer's actually the one to point out who it actually was. Not that I want credit for that, because it was actually really freaking obvious because he used the initials of the guy. But anyway, so I want to share this one. Ari Min, I don't know her name. It's Erica something. She has been posting these stories as well. And I actually thought that originally when I started following this account, I thought this was the girl who had shared the story about Neil Kaplan when she shared the story on Instagram with the tweets. Neil Kaplan was the guy who claimed that Vic violated him, raped the back of his neck basically the first time they met, and then we showed the video. Where he like got on his shoulders and stuff and then playing it up for the party trick basically. So there was a woman on Instagram who shared a story about when she was the handler or whatever of Neil Kaplan, and shared like creepy tweets of him asking her to come up to his room and drink with him, and and like, sharing a story about how when she went up to get him, he was shirtless and all that kind of stuff. And there's just, I thought that's who this was, but I went back and looked at that Instagram account and they don't look like the same person. And the Instagram account has a new name. It used to be like Emily something. And now this one is Erica. So it's probably not the same person, but that's who I thought it was originally. But I'm going to share the story here. Everything Animated wants to know, when is the next court date? He said, I swear nothing has happened since like July when the depots were released. So the next court date, I think I think yesterday. Didn't they have something on August 16th?
I am not sure in this regard.
I know there's something in September. But the TCPA basically put things on hold for 60 days, or rather within 60 days, the judge has to rule on them. So let me read you guys this story. And again, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Okay. So I want you to take this with a grain of salt. This person might actually be bullshitting because she's part of ICANTHIC. I don't know, but I just thought it was worth hearing this story. She says, prior to a guest panel, I went down with a DVD that he had made and wanted to use. The DVD was burned on a Mac, and there had been problems in the past with getting it to play, so I went down early to have everything tested to see that it worked. The very friendly older man who handled the main event's AV, like audio visuals, was great. He ran through everything and the DVD worked just fine. We even tested the audio levels and mics to make sure everything was perfect since no one would be using the room before this guest panel. When the guest came in an hour or so later for the panel, nothing worked. The DVD didn't play, the mic had no power, nothing. The guest was obviously very upset. Eventually, everything got up and working. After the panel, though, the guest was beyond angry. The guest yelled at me and the AV staffer, same one from earlier, the old guy she was talking about. I couldn't understand how it had worked just fine when we tested it not more than an hour or so before. By that point, I had radioed the head of guest relations to meet us in main events. You can't even imagine my shock when the AV staffer bluntly told us that it didn't work because he'd intentionally messed it up. I guess this should be they. They demanded to know why, meaning like I'm guessing the head of guest relations. They demanded to know why he'd do something like that to a person he didn't even know. The staffer told him that he'd done it because he didn't like the way the guest, quote, pushed his religion onto others at the convention during his Sunday morning panels. Who does that obviously sound like?
Well,
I don't quite recall what happened next, but I know I took the guest away to his room and the head of guest relations handled the rest of it. I believe the following year we switched to a professional AV company instead of using all volunteers. And just to clarify, this event took place about 10 years ago. So anyway, make of that what you will. But all these stories about VIC being nasty to convention staff, I mean, kind of seems like it's very likely that they're instigating problems. And, this is Vic's career. I said on podcast 45, he goes up to bat for his fans, making sure things are on time, making sure the panel before his doesn't run over its time so that the guests who come from all around the world to see him get what they paid for. So this sort of shed some light, I think, on it, assuming it's true, on the kind of behavior that might actually be going on that could cause these explosive outbursts that everybody's complaining about and how awful Vic is. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Augie, you have something you want to say?
Regarding cons themselves, if you're a volunteer or working as or for them, something also to consider is rumor propagating. They might hear something about a particular either individual, guest, or panelist, etc., and they will listen to the rumor, and because the con is worried about liability, sometimes they will hear a rumor, which obviously it's something that is said one way, then potentially magnifies depending on how.
You're saying they're more inclined to believe it, you're more likely to err on the side of it being true because it's a defense mechanism, right?
Yes.
So something else I want to share is that during the research I was doing for Podcast 45 and the weeks following, anytime somebody mentioned the actual convention or dated in any way or verbally said like it was here, at this place or whatever, I looked up that convention on YouTube. I looked for vlogs. I looked for any videos that seemed like they might have, most specifically vlogs were like, I looked for panels, and those discredited pretty much every single post that was made negative about Vic. I mean, it was ridiculous. But I looked for vlogs because I figured the way things work, especially at smaller conventions, rumors get around. And I looked for anybody who was doing a vlog who commented, even offhand, about, oh, we heard this happen. We heard something about VIC MIGNOGNA, blah. Nothing. I didn't find anything on YouTube anywhere. I didn't find anything. I looked on forums. I looked everywhere for stories that corroborated each other, that were posted in points where people were at the convention and then said this, rather than, oh, I recall my friend's sister said this like 10 years ago kind of thing, right? I didn't find anything. I looked as hard as I could for evidence that was not circumstantial from the Kick Vic perspective. I still haven't found anything. Okay, that's just an aside here. All right, so you ready for continuing here?
Yes.
All right, so one more thing I want to share with you guys in the open. Actually, let's do pickups. Well, no, let me share this real quick. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Screenshot. Sorry guys, I'm still getting used to the.
Reese made a new doc for next week's episode.
Thank you, Reese. Okay, so I just want to announce I brought this up months ago. I was on the Anime Hour podcast for Lou Talks Anime and Dakota Broski's anime podcast, the Anime Hour. They finally uploaded it, and ironically, I shared a ton of images for them, a ton of images like to illustrate what we were talking about. Oh, what's the rarest thing in your collection? Yada yada yada. Right? I included a bunch of them with timestamps here on Imgur posts and whatnot. Okay. So if you're gonna check this out, keep my upvote my comment and keep it with you if you're gonna watch it, because I've got some stuff here. I actually have more that I didn't share. This is actually why we're late on the podcast, because I finished doing this and pressing enter to submit the comment literally up to the end of it. And as soon as I submitted it, for some reason, the reason this says edited is because this link turned into a bunch of gobbledygook that wasn't a link anymore as soon as I hit go. So I had to go and find the timestamp again on Dakota's video. And then for some reason, when I shared it the second time, like when I fixed it and updated the comment, it was fixed. Anyway. All right. And then let's do pickups.
Pickups.
So actually I'm going to stop screen sharing so that we can go to this mode. You want to go first?
Sure. I'll go first. So what I have is Cyborg 009 Reed, or 009 Reese Cyborg, the latest that Funimation has got for this series. I think the one after the sort of sequel to this is Cyborg 009 versus Devilman on Netflix. So hopefully that'll get a hard release eventually after the 2-year period.
3-year.
3-year. Well, hold on. It's been a couple of years. It's been a year at least so far. So moving, I think the only part of the 009 franchise that I don't have aside from the manga would be 1 or 2 VHSs from FHE Entertainment. I believe that's how that ends. And the live action movie regarding...
I have those if you want me to show them off.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, hold on. Keep talking. I'll find them.
If you have it, there's also the live action movie, maybe TV series, but movie regarding 00. want to say 3. The
Oh,
female.
the one with the woman. I didn't know that was related. I thought that was just. I don't know. I thought that was something else.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got it right here. Here it is.
Okay.
Oh, here it is. Okay, it's from. It's not from FHE. It's from AVEX mode.
Yourself.
I'm holding a bunch of crap. Let me put it down first. It's from AVEX mode. You're talking about these, right?
No.
Is there another one?
I'm talking about the VHSs. These are.
I don't have those.
These are the ones left. That's based on I think it's a compilation of the 1980 series.
Okay, Reese says also, isn't the Skull Man supposed to be a prequel? Is it? I'd like to know that.
Ooh, maybe we should do a watch club to find out.
I have the Skull Man. If I remember, I've watched disc 1 and I can't remember if I finished it or not.
Ooh.
So
you got my curiosity up on that one. So following
it wasn't bad, but there's no dub, and that made it hard to watch because the show is kind of slow.
So another one that I'm going to reveal, and I have technically tweeted regarding the sign back there. There is a new Cutie Honey, which on the back it does say that it has, right there. Yeah, there. Audio dramas with it.
Okay.
Hooray. Also got the DVD on order as well, so I'll compare to see if it also includes that or not. If it doesn't, then I guess I need to buy the remaster of Devilman again. The first 2, the one that we reviewed last year. Then lastly, I have Kitty Girl Land, finally completing the Kitty Grade series. Ooh. It is pure sub, and it took a long time. Time for it to finally get released over here. So hooray, I'm done.
All right. So I've got to pick up Nura, Rise of the Yokai Clan.
You too, huh?
Complete. Yep. Actually got this from the same person who sold me Sengoku Basara, but they listed them separately, so I had to buy them. I didn't get them shipped the same time. I showed Sengoku Basara last week, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. So, quick side note, you know how we discussed Tumblr getting banning their not safe for work stuff and all that drama? They've been sold by Verizon / Yahoo for I think $3 million. It was the owner of WordPress bought them.
Ooh.
And they were bought by Verizon for $10.1 billion and sold for $3 million. That's they're gonna be claiming that that on their taxes for a long time. The value loss on that. So anyway, all right, back to it. We've got an interesting thing. I found this and I wasn't gonna share it, but boy was it fucking hilarious. So Project Veritas has had a new a new revelation from a Google insider who's decided to turn on the company and for the people. And out of this has come a YouTube blacklist censoring content containing certain keywords. And this is pretty funny because it's somewhat obvious, somewhat not obvious. So it starts out, got 64-year-old Stephen Paddock, right? That's the Las Vegas shooter, allegedly. 64 Stephen Paddock, 64 Stephen Paddock, 64 years old Stephen Paddock, right? So it's just a bunch of stuff, and it's just anti-Trump Paddock, anti-Trump Stephen Paddock, right? It's just a whole bunch. Attack misspelled, Las Vegas misspelled, Stephen misspelled, right? It's all Las Vegas stuff. Now these actually aren't in alphabetical order entirely. They're in alphabetical order per subject matter, right? So this is all Las Vegas attack. By the way, it's kind of funny. The news sure did shut up about this attack pretty quickly, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They did.
Can't talk about it on YouTube.
No. It's a Dan
Conspiracy
Kendall in the
in
news,
Stephen
but-
Paddock shooting. Democrat Paddock. Democrat Stephen Paddock. Depressed. Depression. Depressions.
Yeah,
Depressed.
I feel bad for the self-help people trying to get over that, you know.
Detienen, a Stephen Paddock Las Vegas, and maybe these are another one. You're just fake attack Las Vegas. Anyway, just keep going down. Right, girlfriend of Paddock, frazzle drip, whatever the hell that is.
It's like
all right, so
nowhere.
continuing down here. Now this gets really funny. Las Vegas massacre, Las Vegas shooting, Las Vegas Trump. You're all going to die. Oh, this was the woman who told people before it happened that you're all going to die, allegedly. Theories of mass shooting, blah, blah, blah. Right? So it keeps going. And then it goes into another terrorist attack. Truck attack. Trucks now, right? So you're going to continue. New York City, terrorists, blah, 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 Manhattan, Lower Manhattan, New York. Shooter, Texas, right? Going into another one. Just wait till I get there. California school shooter, right? So you're basically not allowed to talk about shootings or any sort of terrorist attacks. All right. Asshole actors.
Well,
just wait till I get there. So crisis actors, crisis acting hoaxes, Times Square explosion, teen porn, naked girl, naughty teen, sexy teen, naughty little girl, right? So there's a lot of this, right? And then it gets hilarious. This is where I stopped before because it was too funny. Colgate, vagina, toothpaste, pee, Colgate, penis toothpaste.
really need to get rid of those zits from down there.
Penis, vagina, penis massage toothpaste, toothpaste benefits. Guys, you're not allowed to search about the conspiracy theories behind the benefits of brushing your teeth, especially if you use Colgate.
Huh.
The benefits of toothpaste, man. You'll get demonetized right away for that one.
I know the paste, not the gel, but like the toothpaste. If you put it on an area with blackheads, it eats up the oil. So
Okay.
I would imagine if you try doing that with your private parts, it's going to sting. But
I love how Colgate, just the name brand, is like they are delisting videos and like shooting them down the algorithm and stuff.
so does that mean that we should brush our teeth with Crest or that terrible Aqua
Tooth powder.
VC powder? What?
Tooth powder is the old way of doing it.
Oh.
All caps vagina. All right.
Ooh.
Amazing. It worked very well.
Well.
All right. Anyway, so I thought that was hilarious. All sorts of stuff on abortion. You're not allowed to talk about abortion unless it's pro-abortion, from what I saw in these. But
there you go.
Anyway, no. Wait, no, pro-life. Yeah, pro-abortion extreme. Yeah, you're just not allowed to talk about it from the perspective of being against it. That's what they're saying here. Anyway, so there's the list isn't actually that much longer, but all right, it has more shooting stuff, and then Tommy Robinson, Tom Watson. I didn't see any Jordan Peterson.
Gazelle guy?
What?
The guy that does the Gazelle workout stuff?
Who?
Tommy Robinson, not Tommy Robinson. Okay.
Tommy Robinson is a political dissident that lives in Ireland or the UK or somewhere. He lives from Luton or whatever.
Why is he important? Usually,
you'd have. It would take me so long to go over that. I'm not even going to bring it up. Let's just move on. All right. So Kickstarter news. Megazone 2-3 Omega Edition now live. Already almost 3/4 through its goal. Probably will be by the end of the podcast.
So FD&M messaged you about some sort of issue. Was it regarding shipping or what?
Yes, you can't, if you aren't in the US, you can't select. Apparently, you can't select a. Here, I'll just pull up this tweet. Here, go ahead and I'm gonna pull up his tweet real quick. There's something weird going on there that I don't have to know because I use the US option. But
apparently the live action movie live action something I'm talking about is 009-1 semicolon the end of the beginning.
Oops, that's not what I meant to click on. I meant to click on media. This one. So I clicked on this one and was fine, right? He's saying like there's no option for Canada. I imagine you would just click on select a country. Like that seems like a checkbox you could click on. I don't know. But the bottom line is he's saying he can't pledge from Canada is the bottom line. So that's the issue here. Now, obviously, he can just send it to my house. I'll send it to him. But I got the one with the chipboard collector case. I actually also got the $60 one that doesn't come with it because I did that for all the other ones. I want to have that extra one I can watch and the one that's in the nice case that I never open. But yeah, these are neat. I think, yes, the guy from Devil Hunter Yoko.
What?
It looks pretty clean. Here's examples of what you're going to get based on the stuff they did previously. Megazone 2-3 was the first successful OVA. It literally kicked off the anime boom.
Okay.
Is this the Kabaneri, the Iron Fortress girl?
Yeah, a lot of designs get reused throughout the years.
What? I'm just wondering if it doesn't. It kind of looks like her, but it also kind of definitely doesn't because the eyes are less mysterious. I think she had like gold eyes too. Anyway, all right. So this is something you guys should definitely consider backing.
Does it say if it has both? If it's an all tracks release, all English and Japanese?
I believe it is. I can't type. Oh, good. That's the one I have. Okay, the complete Megazone 2-3 saga, parts 1, 2, and 3, with the original Japanese 2.0 and the ADV Films English 5.1 audio tracks. Yes, so it comes with all of them. It also comes with the Megazone 2-3 Part 2 International Edition English dub. It's a different audio track, I assume. Assortment of trailers, original ADV Films English commentary track featuring Matt Greenfield, David Williams, and Janice Williams. Multicolored non-SDH and SDH subtitle tracks and SDH captions. What does SDH stand for?
SDH.
For the Japanese program, SDH captions, signs, and no, I don't know. Captions for the English program, Reese is going to know. English program, multicolored SDH subtitles for commentary tracks. Okay.
SDH. Subtitles for deaf and hard of hearing.
Okay.
So corporate subtitles.
Okay, so meaning it'll have sound effects and like music starts playing here and blah, blah, blah. All backers will be listed on the disc in a special feature and in a 9-panel poster insert in the Amaray case. Expanded production art book containing significantly more content than the Japanese art book premium set only. Japanese book was about 64 pages. That was probably over 100. So in addition, the commentaries, just a bunch of stuff. Anyway, you guys can... the Streamline Pictures English dub of Megazone 2-3 Part 2. Hold on. Fun. There are several items that we hope... Okay, so these are the things that are going to be in the stretch goals. They'll almost certainly they're going to hit it. You know?
Did it list what stretch goals there are yet?
I'm looking for them right now. Stretch goals. Japanese commentary featuring Meow Gaku and our returning champion Sato Hiroki for 125,000. I bet you... I'm just going to randomly guess they're going to be over 200,000 by the next podcast. That's what by next week, right?
When does this?
I'm guessing
1 month.
Well, it came up today, so it's going to be 30 days. Anyway, so they're also going to have use of Mr. Mikimoto's Eve illustration created for the Japanese Blu-ray release with additional tweaks by Mr. Mikimoto, a notorious perfectionist. This is the illustration we use for a test for the Geeklay canvas print. I don't know how to pronounce that. New 8-page Megazone 2-3 manga created by Mr. Meow.
Ooh.
We'll unlock 8 special portrayed patron rewards. Okay, so these are going to be, if you got this one, this is the $900 patronage. You'll have your likeness featured in this in a manga panel, which will result is you. Okay, yeah, I should have just read that. A new cell art Eve illustration by Mr. Mikimoto. In addition to being used in the packaging, it will be available as a Geek Lab canvas print. New secret history of Megazone 2-3 feature. Oh, by Did You Know Anime. So the YouTube channel Did You Know Anime is going to have a featurette on here. They're probably going to do a special episode just for this, which is kind of what Robert J. Woodhead has done in the past with Bennett the Sage for Gunsmith Cats getting in as a commentary track. It's a way to reach out to a channel so that they will promote your Kickstarter. It's a great strategy. I'm really glad he's doing that. And I like that this one they're doing something that is going to be a featurette rather than wasting a commentary on Bennett the Sage. No offense to Bennett. I don't actually watch his content, but I don't mean to say that he doesn't deserve a commentary track. I just feel like it would have been nice for them to give to somebody in the project. You know what I mean? Although they seem to have gotten a good one, except that Augie and I didn't get to be in it. If you guys watched I did a video titled "How Long Will It Take for Gunsmith Cats to Get Funded" or whatever. And Robert J. Woodhead actually came on the stream with us, and we talked to him, and he commented about how there's an opportunity. Say what?
At least he linked your stream to that.
Yeah, he tweeted about it and everything. So yeah, we also talked. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going here. Mr. Mikimoto's new art will be upgraded with to a painting similar to the complexity that was created for the Japanese release. So they have no idea what they're going to do for here. And as usual, they always like to hear fan suggestions for what they can do. Anyway, social goals. Use the hashtag shit. I didn't use the hashtag. So they want to get 1,000 legit mentions. We'll add Megazone 2-3 sticker to the set. 5,000 legit. This is a great strategy. Robert J. Woodhead is a genius. One of my favorite people in the anime industry. He's really on it, you know? And he's been on some of the coolest YouTube channels like this one. Anyway, we'll add a 9-panel poster insert to the set. We'll upgrade the sticker to a multiple sticker sheet. We'll worry about this unlock when we have to. Okay, so let's get them there. Let's get 50,000 legit mentions. All right. They mean real posts by real people that aren't obviously intended just to inflate the count. Which, good luck counting that, Mr. Woodhead. I hope you plan. Well, actually, he's like a computer.
He's gonna pay someone.
He's a computer aficionado, so he's going to be good.
What's the wizardry that he worked on?
I don't think it was wizardry. I think it might have been. He talked about the Plato, PLATO Mac operating system or whatever a while ago.
Okay.
Uh-oh. I can't deal with that. My wife just texted me. Anyway, I can't deal with her right now. By legend mention, to help you out. Oh yeah, so they're saying you can use these images in your tweet or whatever, in your hashtagging. Anyway, so I was saying that he's good with coding. Hold on one second.
All these other stuff as he is stepped to the side. So what you can do for this is there's a digital promotion material that if you just want to do the bare minimum and do like a Slacker backer, it's just $5 if he does Slacker backer. The basic set includes 2 BD50 Blu-rays plus poster inserts, includes all the digital rewards. The premium at $90 shipping is base set plus the promotion artwork together with a sturdy chipboard. 200
FDM, regional availability, currently USA only. Currently, we only have rights to release Megazone 2-3 in the United States. We are working with the licensor to expand this to Canada and most of Europe, and may be able to do this during the campaign period. If so, we'll open up pre-ordering outside of the USA. Shipping fees, basic set, $7. Elsewhere, $20 if we obtain license expansion. Premium set, $9 everywhere else, $30. Shipping is flat rate, blah, blah, blah. All right, so there you go. I think we can cover this in further podcasts because it's going to be going on for a couple more weeks.
I covered a few of the tiers so far. You want to continue with the reward levels that they can do?
We went through. You mean these ones?
Hold on. Let me.
I'm going to recommend you get the $90 or the $60 because the $5 is not going to get you anything but a digital production materials. You don't really want that. The $60 is the one that actually gets you the Blu-rays. The $90 gets you the Blu-rays and the chipboard collector case. The $200 one gets you the digital production stuff as well as the thing, the chipboard and all that. And it also gets you listed as a patron when the disc loads. 300 does guarantee a slot on the first page of the patron list. 500 gets you the production check discs, which I did for Gunsmith Cats and Riding Bean. By the way, the check discs for Gunsmith Cats I think are about to ship out. I should get them very soon. Cool. So I get to check out that sweet HD. 600 is going to do portrait. This is where you receive the Glique print or whatever. Anyway, and then here's the $2,500 one, the perfect patron. So this one will get you a personal apology from Robert. Now, originally I thought that this was due to the fact that they're just like, usually when you have a thing this high, like a cost this high, they like fly you out for a premiere or something, you know what I mean, for normal anime things. And this seemed like there just wasn't a lot of stuff on here, so I thought the personal apology was due to the fact that there just aren't really good things for the higher tiers. Oh, somebody actually got this one. 10 backers. Holy shit. 10 backers at $2,500. Oh my god, 25,000.
Looks like
right? Yeah, $25,000 worth just from this one have gone out. Anyway, but I was talking to Jimmy G about this, and he said that the personal apology is probably for the bad pun. Anyway, you have anything else you want to say?
I just backed it. And it looks like he's less than 25,000 from getting the first 100,000.
Yeah, I was saying he'll get to that before the end of the podcast. He's already there.
Oh, yeah.
He's already got the 75. He's already 3/4 the way there. He might actually get all the way to 100,000 before the end of the podcast, but I doubt it. We'll check back in if you guys remind us.
If he reaches it by Monday, that would be amazing.
I'm sure he will. Otaka, so a check disc is the disc that they when they author the disc the first time. You know how we talk about how Justin Savakis has he's just starting to do 4K for that Space Adventure Cobra, right? And he's been talking about how he's had to put it back in the oven, so to speak, numerous times because it's new and he hasn't figured out the new format of doing 4K. So the check disc is the thing that they send to the replicator that gets sent back for quality control. Like, this is what you're going to get, test it and make sure we'll get the okay and we'll start printing on. That's what the check disc is. In fact, I could just show you. I don't know. But I want to keep the podcast moving because I have the check discs for Riding Bean. So anime related. I talked about this last podcast. It is a documentary series that is very, very low budget, but is infinitely better than Enter the Anime on Netflix. This is a series that are basically interviews at conventions turned into a documentary. Okay, Reese, I will.
Huh. Hold on. So this guy just needs what? $90, $89, and
yeah, he's almost there. I really don't think he's not going to get it, even if he backs it himself through another account or something.
Okay.
So Reese told me to look up the 6,000 one. The ultimate package, all the perks of prominent patron, plus you'll be credited as the shadowy junta leader on the packaging. Oh, and we'll add some extra Blu-rays and goodies for you to give out as gifts, and you'll get all the variants of the 40x30 Glique prints to hang on the walls of your command center. The pledge amount of this reward will slowly reduce until it is selected. Please note that we cannot ship this reward to Japan or Germany. International availability not yet confirmed. So you get 40 by 30. These are all of the variants. 5 sets of all non-print goodies. 5 chipboard case. 5 of the Blu-ray sets. So are you having me just point out that this also doesn't seem like that big of a good thing? Like they're just such an enormous amount. See, these go to like friends in the industry who have a bunch of money, you know? So like this is the one that like the guy who runs Sentai would buy, you know, as a way to help his friend at Animago kind of thing, right? Anyway, is that all you wanted me to say, Reese? Also, since we paused, I'm going to grab that check disc and just show Otaku what I'm talking about. And anybody else who's watching who wants to know what those look like. I just don't remember if it's under R or G for Gunsmith Cats. Oh, here. Rage of Bahamut. Record of Lodos War. Resident Evil. God damn it. It's right next to me again, and I walked all the way. No, wait. Ronin Warriors. This can't be right next to me. There it is.
Hey, see if someone does $20 or $18 to darn it. Someone does $18 to that previous one, it'll be funded.
To the anime related one?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to show you Sono Press, which I think is in Germany. Yeah. Which is interesting that they can't give those certain rewards to Germany. So it's kind of like Funimation and all them use a replicating plant in Mexico. So yeah, this thing says disc made in Mexico. Anyway, this is the check disc from Sonopress. Music, movies, games, audiobooks, software, CD, SACD, DVD, Xbox, Blu-ray, Ultra HD Blu-ray, pure audio Blu-ray, vinyl, creative packaging, media asset management, archiving, and digitization. So yeah, this is the check disc. This is what it looks like. This is the one for Writing Bean. It says Writing Bean B25. I guess that's Blu-ray 25, meaning it's not a dual layer. Check disc, and it has the date on the bottom. And I don't know if Robert J. Wood had signed it or if this was him signing off on it, being like, we're all good. It's been checked and it was a success. I don't know. But I'll see when I get the Gunsmith Cats one, I guess, if it looks the same or whatever. Anyway. Thank you for your interest in my check disc. All right, so, oh shit, I got to be more careful. I almost broke it.
Well, he's just checking.
So, something kind of neat, if you guys are new to this, something kind of neat that happened with the Writing Bean the Writing Bean Kickstarter is that this is the Blu-ray cover for Writing Bean. They accidentally sent the file for the old DVD, which I've got right here. So they accidentally sent them this file, and you'll notice that my DVD, I don't know if all the DVDs are like this, but my DVD doesn't have a printing on the disc, the middle of the disc circle right there, but that the one that they actually printed here actually has more of the full artwork. Anyway, so yeah, that was something that happened there. So what they did is they sent out the extra copies in these sleeves, and they honored the fact that, hey, we screwed up. We accidentally sent the wrong file. We fixed it. Here you can put it in your disc to replace it. More. I just keep mine in my extra ones in my DVD of it because I have the space for it and it's open, whereas my special edition collector's box chipboard isn't opened for the other one, so I can't house enough in the actual Blu-ray here. Anyway, all right, back to anime related. Did Reese have anything to say about okay, he's just confirming. So 25 gig Blu-ray disc, yeah. Yep. Okay, so here we go. Anime related, the series Blu-ray, yeah. So he's almost got it fully. I think it refreshes automatically usually. There you go. He's almost there, yeah. And it's only been 8 backers.
Did you back this already?
I did. Yeah, I backed it a long time ago. Let's see. Wait. Why am... I know I backed it. Why does it say back this project? And my thing isn't...
Are you logged in?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, that's
Okay, well that's weird. Give me a minute. Oh, you still talk about something. I gotta check my other account.
Hey. So you want to know what's pretty interesting? I discovered Adventure Kid did get its manga series released over here in 4 volumes by Anime 18. So I went to the Asian market lately to try to get my Kona coffee because the only way to get Hawaiian coffee is through the exports from Japan. So I found something else instead since I didn't have it. I finally got me some Black Boss coffee. If you ever get If you ever get a chance to look this up, Boss Coffee commercials, you have there's a slew of them with Tommy Lee Jones back when he was doing the Men in Black movies. In these commercials, he's an alien just going through the different lifestyles of human life. Like one, he might be a teacher, he might be a construction worker, but regardless of any of the stresses of human life as he goes through the study, he always retreats back to Black Boss Coffee to refresh his day.
So I backed it with my other account. Here's the crazy thing.
Yep.
This has 8 backers.
Yep. What's that now?
2 of them pledged $25 or more. I'm one of those 2. And I'm thinking about switching over to the 31 because why not? To get the Blu-ray. 2 of them have pledged for the $30. They get you the signed Blu-ray, because why not? $5 more. 0 for the one that comes with the lunchbox. 2 for the 65 that comes with the OST, the soundtrack on CD. Oh, and it comes with STL models?
Ooh.
For like 3D printing?
I guess so.
Oh, yeah. All original tracks plus new tracks for the upcoming 4th volume. See, this is the thing that you should not do in your stupid Kickstarter. Will, don't announce that you've got an upcoming 4th volume that's not going to be on the Blu-ray. Unless, of course, it is going to be on the Blu-ray, and I'm totally... Okay. Anyway, if I legitimately like this guy, Will Jimenez. I've talked to him before. He's very positive, good entrepreneurial sort of mindset goes into it. It's a hard worker. But I gotta say, you watch the YouTube video that's the trailer for this, not good. Like a real crappy quality. Hunter's in the chat right now. Says,
ooh, hey Hunter.
Oh, dude, you're wow. I'm glad that we went through your stuff and pulled out a bunch of stuff before you got into college. Are you going to college locally? I can't remember. Were you because you were saying you were going to have to take the stuff to your dorm. And if you want to, I'll let you hop on the stream if you want me to send you the link. If you want to just hang out. Anyway, so yeah, 1 backer for the $100, which comes with the. Oh God, the soundtrack.
Yeah.
On vinyl.
Ew.
Dude, you are losing money on that to have 1 vinyl made of that soundtrack. Wowza. Anyway, yeah, so I backed it. I'm hoping it gets there just because I like the guy, and I'm hoping we get the thing. Oh, okay, so you're 4 hours away. All right. So anyway, I'm on Safari. I gotta close Safari. I use different browsers to log into different accounts that I have to log out. So anyway, back to what we got here.
Was that an anime collector tip?
No, that's every person who uses multiple accounts could use this as a tip. All right, so live action anime news. First of all, Watakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku, live action film is got a teaser trailer. Now, I think Aniplex released the anime, and I had brought it up earlier like in saying like this is the art style for this looks like something that would be fun to watch. Here's the comparison of the like the manga, artwork or whatever. It looks like manga artwork versus the live action stuff. Anyway, so there's that. Continuing here. There's a Takeshi's Challenge play, like a stage play, I'm assuming, on the way. Takeshi's Challenge was so you guys know Beat Takeshi. He played.
He's a very famous actor.
What's the name of the guy, the old guy in Ghost in the Shell again? Aramaki.
Oh, the guy that looks like Bernie Sanders.
Chief Aramaki. He played Chief Aramaki in the live action Ghost in the Shell. So Beat Takeshi's 1986 Famicom game Takeshi's Challenge has gone down in video game history as the weirdest, most frustrating game ever made by design, no less. And now there's a stage play version on the way. Ooh. The infamous Kusoge, which I told you guys last podcast, literally translates to shit game, lets you fight anyone, drink $80 tequilas, and basically destroy your salaryman character's entire life. But there is a plot. The right combination of very specific self-sabotaging plus gameplay mechanics entailing everything from singing to just walking away for an hour will guide your character to an island where a secret treasure awaits him, provided you remember to mail your divorce papers off to your wife. Anyway, so weirdly, this
is the game where you beat your wife, hide money in a flower pot at work, sing a particular song, get beat up by a certain particular person in a bar, hang glide very difficultly to an island, and glitch the game to get the treasure.
Anyway, so there aren't any like visuals yet for it, but this
I want
bizarre.
to watch this.
Right? Okay,
the train wreck.
So I saw this right before the podcast started, like about 20 minutes early or whatever. Parasite's trailer manages to be captivating and intriguing without spoiling a thing. Okay, so this is for a live-action Parasite movie, but it is not the one based on the manga/anime, which, as you guys know, is written Parasyte. So I'm just bringing this up because I actually watched this trailer, and this looks like a fucking awesome movie. It's a Korean movie by Bong Joon-ho. I'm probably butchering that. That's the guy who did The Host. If you've seen that. It looks like it's going to be a great film, and as the article says, it is captivating and intriguing without spoiling anything. So check out the trailer at some point. I'm bringing it up because I want to remember that this is coming out. So if anybody like notices that it's like got a release or whatever, and you think, hey, the Anime Collector was talking about that, go ahead and remind me because I'd actually really like to see this. And the French live-action City Hunter film to be released in Japan in November of 2019. I'm actually really excited to hear what they think of it.
I wonder if they'll leave it as is, aside from changing it from French to Japanese. Leave it as is script-wise.
You mean, or do you think they're going to translate it? So let me put it this way. Okay, so America, don't quote me on that. It might have been Australia. Made a live-action Fist of the North Star movie starring Gary Daniels. And in this movie, in the American or English language adaptation, he doesn't do the right. He just it's the most off-putting thing ever. I don't know if they knew this when they were filming it that it was going to be this bad, but it's just him punching real fast, and all you hear is right, like that's all you hear, right? But for the Japanese release of that movie, they got the voice actor who plays Kenshiro in the anime, and they have him doing the yata in this one.
Funny you mentioned him.
What?
Funny you mentioned him because that's the same voice actor who voices Ryu Saiba. So
right.
maybe
So that's what I'm suggesting. That if there are changes, like if the French version doesn't say, if the French version doesn't have him say Mokori or something like that, they'll probably try to throw that back in. But I'm curious what they think. I've noticed that the French have the license plate here saying Nicky Larson, right? and all that. So, and we've talked about this in the past. This trailer looks amazing. This looks like the greatest adaptation of an anime property by a non-Japanese company since Speed Racer, right? Arguably even better than Speed Racer in that regard. Because I mean, Speed Racer is amazing, but it is like a blockbuster version of the anime, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's made to be a summer blockbuster full of thrills and full of fun. I wouldn't say thrills and excitement.
And my phone just died. Okay. All right. Anyway, that's unimportant though. The phone dying. I don't need it for this. So, Neil Gaiman comments on his role in Princess Mononoke's English adaptation. I guess I didn't highlight anything here. Okay, so basically I'm just going to read his tweets here instead of going through the everything being said again by Anime News Network. So somebody said, so bloody happy right now. This is a picture of the guy's like TV with the Princess Mononoke DVD menu or whatever. It says, so bloody happy right now. I don't know why. If I hit show media, it goes to Twitter and then I can come back and you can see it. Anyway, so bloody happy right now. The kids are finally old enough to watch my favorite Miyazaki film ever, Princess Mononoke. And I only learned, shame on your grammar, recently, the English script version was penned by Neil himself. That's Neil Gaiman's Twitter handle, which seals the deal even more. So in response to that, he said, my biggest secret, Studio Ghibli asked for some of the Miramax execs to be removed from the poster and credits. The execs looked at all the names, determined that theirs would remain, and realized that mine was contractually expendable, meaning that they removed his and left theirs. All right, here's the poster, which that's great job, guys. That's super huge, awesome image I can show. God damn it.
I don't recall coins in Princess Mononoke.
It was in the poster. That's all.
Okay.
It was a way to grip the audience before they saw it. By the way, one thing I'll mention that I really liked. I mean, keep in mind these came out like in 2003 or whatever on DVD. The old Disney Miramax releases and all that. Yeah. One of the things I really liked that they did for the Studio Ghibli releases is that for every single release they made an English title screen. But if you switch to the Japanese track, it shows the Japanese title screen, which says Mononoke Hime in the original format and everything. I don't know if this guy's watching that one. It looks like this is probably the G Kids Blu-ray or whatever. Anyway.
Well, you know my complaint with the Disney releases of the Ghibli movies.
What are they?
Mike Lasseter won't shut up and let us watch the movie. Every time it's like he sits there. It's like 2 minutes, but it feels like an hour. So this person said, is it true that they first asked Quentin Tarantino, who then suggested you instead? Neil Gaiman said yes. So originally, because Miramax had put out Pulp Fiction and other of Tarantino's films, they had asked him to do the script originally. And Neil Gaiman, he was offered up as use Neil Gaiman, right? Anyway, so this was shared by Reese, I believe. Thank you, Reese. I'm going to just go ahead and pull over to the Crunchyroll version of this article because Neil Gaiman spoke in an interview with Slashdot that he penned 5 drafts of the script for Miramax, who then had to approve every word with Studio Ghibli, a common practice for high-profile anime films. After the 5th draft, Gaiman was cut from the production for 6 months as Miramax worked from an adapted version of the script with matched mouth movements, for the dub. Miramax then brought Gaiman back after that adapted script performed poorly to finish up the film. Right. So anyway, be interesting to have heard. I mean, obviously, I think that the dub for Princess Mononoke is phenomenal. I think there's. If I remember correctly, I think there's one part in this movie that I hate. It's not a dub line. It's the part where it just looks so fucking weird when Ashitaka falls off of I think it's Yakul, the thing he's riding, whatever. He's riding something. I'm pretty sure it's his elk thing. He falls and the wolf runs over and bites his head and shakes. Yeah. It's so
awkwardly animated. It just feels so out of place how he just falls and then this like wolf runs from off screen and goes right on his head. It's so funny. Anyway, all right, so continuing here.
Oh yeah, for those wondering about the taste of Black Boss coffee, it tastes exactly like Folgers original blend, so not much really missing here. Ooh.
All right, so there's a Lupin the Third documentary that's going to air on NHK on August 20th.
Yes.
So, the fuck is going on with my highlights? There we go. Jeez. So the documentary is called "And So Lupin the Third Was Born: The Men Who Breathed Life into Him," and it's going to be showing as part of the broadcasters Another Stories Crossroads of Fate program. And once again, I'm going to jump over to the Crunchyroll version of this article because it uses images from the actual site where they announced it. So they go on to say that in the wake of Kazuhiko Kato's passing, may he rest in peace, Another Stories has gathered together voice actors, editors, directors, and many others to tell Lupin's multifaceted story. Appearing in the interviews will be, among others, Michiko Hara, the first editor for the of Manga Action, where Lupin the Third first ran. So this was Monkey Punch, Kazuhiko Kato up here. This was his editor at the time when he was putting out Lupin as a manga. What are these comments here? Oh, Reese, I guess also brought up that the Parasite movie has nothing to do with Parasite. How does one get dick from Richard? What does that even mean? What? I mean, I get it, but why did that comment come up?
Well, you see, Richard's a Spanish word of dick.
Okay. Anyway, so Baron Yoshimoto, another creator at Manga Action, who saw Monkey Punch as a friend and rival, which I think this is a great person to include in the documentary about somebody who's just died, because you get to see a perspective from somebody who doesn't view the person the same way that everybody else does. You know what I mean? It's a very specific, unique perspective.
It's strange that he chose to wear the cowboy getup for that picture.
That's his thing. Leave him alone. Who is Baron Yoshimoto? What has he done? I feel like it's
a good copy paste and dog pile should tell you.
Troublemakers. Okay. How about I can't. Please let. Okay, good. I still have. Oh God, you're killing me here. They don't have an entry for him. He must not have been good. The Art of Baron.
Wait a minute.
What is he like? He's like a cross between Hirohiko Araki and Junji Ito over here. Anyway. All right, well, that didn't help. And then there's the Troublemakers. Is this a manga? It seemed like this was it is a manga.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, so there's the Troublemakers by him. Anyway. All right, so Masaki Osumi, the first director of the Lupin III, who has aspired to create a TV anime for adults. Yasuo Otsuka, the character designer and animation director for Castle Cagliostro. And Kenichi Kurita, the voice of Lupin. Actually, there's a couple of people that aren't in this list that are on the other list. So it's Koike.
That guy with the white hat. He looks like the father from Happy Days, just Asian.
Okay. Koike is Takeshi Koike is going to be one of them too. And Hiroshi Kashiwabara are also going to appear. Anyway. All right. So that's cool. I hope that Discotech releases it over here as a special feature on a Lupin Blu-ray.
I kind of hope this gets its own release itself, very similar to the.
I don't think it will because it's like a TV special. Like it's not like a full feature-length documentary. And I'd prefer it to be on a Lupin thing so that I don't have to choose between putting it in my Lupin collection or my documentary collection.
Okay.
Anyway. Toonami premieres Dr. Stone anime on August 24th, so Dr. Stone is coming to Toonami.
Hooray! Probably because that whole Crunchyroll partnership.
And the coolest thing ever, King and Ashura's second part is going to debut on Netflix on October 31st. It's going to have episodes 13 to 24 here. So if you haven't binged Kengan Ashura yet, what are you waiting for? Also, the first episode is really sets a weird tone for the series. So if it turned you off, like just watch episode 2 because it's really worth it. That first episode's very weird tonally. And you might actually be better to just skip episode 1 entirely. Anyway, and no Shobotai or Fire Force sexiness censored on Toonami. Actually, let me go ahead and hold on. Let me do something real quick.
I was wondering about that. I know that they broadcasted censored, so did the original licensor just gave them what they censored?
How about we
wait and read it?
How about I show you?
Okay. Show us the magic.
I'm broadcasting. Okay, so now you guys can hear the audio. Okay, so in I think episode 2 or 3, this happens. Yeah. No, I think it's episode 3. I forget the main character's name. Shinra? Yeah, that's his name. He goes to a like a competition for new Fire Force members or whatever. And he sees somebody who was there at the fire that took like his family's life or whatever. And he goes up to that person. This girl steps in front of him and ends up with his hand. He was reaching out to her. He was reaching out to the guy he was trying to like talk to. She says, "What do you need with my captain?" Hand goes underneath the thing right there. God damn it. My scroll wheel's not. This is going to get me demonetized. Damn it. My scroll wheel stopped working. There we go. I'm all the way at the bottom.
Comics.
All right. Anyway. And then that happens, gets awkward, and then something else happens, and this happens. All right. So here's how it shows up in the Toonami one.
Talking to my captain like that, you jerk.
Wonderful, just wonderful. This is such a great way to show my. Oh God. So Random 11 says
for better internet.
Dude, I'm plugged into the Wi-Fi right now. I'm plugged into the Ethernet. Random 11 says it can't handle this 3D CG animation. Dude, get through episode 1. Episode 2, you will forget that there's CG animation. It's that much better.
Think of it as a puppet show.
Dude, let me put it this way. When I was going through the stuff that I put into the footage for my first impressions on it, I talked about the stuff in Gridman, which by the way, I don't know if they changed the Gridman animation quality before the final release, or if I just like was completely turned off by how loud the audio was. But I actually legitimately do think that the CG in Gridman looks pretty good. Like I harped on the complaints a little bit too much in both of the videos where I talked about it, but when I was looking for footage of the parts where the girl, for instance, in Ajin looks a little wonky, I legitimately had a difficult time finding those scenes because I've gotten so used to watching these 3D CG anime that they don't look weird to me anymore. So seriously, just give it a chance. You'll get used to it quickly. It's not even in the same galaxy in terms of quality as Ajin and Knights of Sidonia. It is so much better than those. Yeah, the side
Gridman, that was released by Funimation or licensed by Funimation, but I don't recall it having a release just yet.
Not yet. It's just been licensed so far. So I'm going to try this again.
Talking to my captain like that, you jerk.
Fuck me. Okay, I'm going to stop screen sharing and try to do it without the audio. It doesn't matter. Basically, it goes from here, and they just completely cut out those shots. So all of a sudden, it just goes like, "What are you doing?" And it's like, "I don't know. You didn't show it to us." Anyway, there's more here than just that regarding the thing. Oh, dude, Baki wasn't CG except in the first season. It wasn't CG except for like one fight between the judo guy and the guy with like the braided like long hair, who then got killed by, or not killed, he got attacked by the giant bearded guy, right? it jumps to that fight and is CG for some reason. All that other stuff, I don't think it was CG. I've been watching that with my wife. We love it and hate it at the same time. All right. So, and it's also cool, by the way, that the Baki, because it's the Netflix original thing, that it's a continuation of the old anime that's already come out.
2000 or the OVA?
The 2000 one. Oh, here.
I want to.
Now you can't hear it, but
I can't get
but
past.
it literally, you can't hear it, but it literally goes to this shot right after the what? Like you just see this thing, and then they've got the. If you want to just click on the link and click on it yourself, you can see the difference. It's totally unimportant. And now I can't pause this. There we go. Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, so the sexy scene is in its uncensored glory. This one, which involves the sensuous Tamaki's breasts and the buttocks being accidentally groped by protagonist Shinra. Western streaming sites, in comparison, have not censored the scene at all. So many were quite curious why the hot moment was expunged from TV. Why the fuck do you think? Do you think Cartoon Network is going to put this on?
Hey! They put Tim and Eric on there.
Nobody watches that. Some even questioned Toonami co-founder Jason DeMarco, who assured fans that Toonami is not editing the episodes. This is another thing. Again, look, this is what what's his name? Cody from Anime Outsiders talked about on that one stream that got him all that hate, even though he was right about like freaking everything he said about how he didn't want the Anime Gate people like Hirohei and Tug and all them to become what happened with Gamergate, and now is right this moment happening with Comicsgate, with everybody at each other's throats, where they have to, in order to stay relevant, have to like find articles and keep talking about stuff, you know, to keep their content numbers up, right, for YouTube. Where basically everyone's talking about this like, oh, is Funimation censored? Basically, they don't know the ins and outs of this thing. Obviously, Funimation's not going to censor it for the final release. It's going to be on the Blu-ray completely uncensored. It doesn't make sense. Obviously, it's uncensored on Funimation Now because Funimation Now is a streaming service that you pay for. It is significantly less likely that kids have access to that than kids have access to Toonami, that watch Toonami at night, you know, on Cartoon Network and all that. So anyway, long story short, DeMarco says, I don't know why people keep asking, but we're not editing the Fire Force episodes, which could be phrased very particularly to not admit that they know it was censored, but that they didn't particularly do it or whatever. And they'd say, well, it's definitely not Funimation. It has to be you guys or someone higher up, blah, blah, blah. It's not us, believe it or not. Believe it or don't, right? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's all I want to share. Just news about this, that they've been censoring stuff.
Yeah, if anything, in theory, this should promote more of the home release or streaming, but
actually, hold up.
Yes.
So there is this shot where you see her or his hand from the side view. I don't think that was even included in here, though. I just cut that out, right? It went straight to... Just give me a second. Oh, God, kill me with this. Fuck it, I don't care. Moving on. Okay, so Kyoto Animation releases beautiful trailer for the first major anime project since the arson attack. It's for the Violet Evergarden movie that we had been talking about. Was already known they were going to continue with it. It's going to be premiered in Germany or whatever. So you guys can check it out. The thing is that Violet Evergarden already is outstanding. It's a Netflix original or whatever. Like they funded it, right? And Netflix threw so much money on their stuff. So it already looked great. Feature movie has even greater, as they say here. It's been an impressive display of what some of the anime industry's most talented artists can do. With the bump to a theatrical budget and an eye for the grand spectacle offered by a cinema-sized screen, Eternity and Auto Memory Dolls that's the name of the movie, looks to set a new high watermark for the franchise. Anyway, it's going to be awesome for sure. Definitely check it out. Trigger's Promare, or as I call it, Promea, because that's what the katakana says. Anime film surpasses 1 billion yen in earnings. Anyway, so let me ask you guys this, chat. I don't want to give away specifically what it was, But I went to the live drawing panel at Anime Expo for Premiere. And I actually didn't go to the live drawing panel. I came in and sat in the room because Kengan Ashura episodes 8 and 9 were premiering right after it. So I was there for the question and answer portion, and I heard somebody say something. I'm looking for that panel because it would be very, very beneficial to use in my first impressions for this movie. So if you happen to know of anybody who has footage of that panel, or if you come across or whatever, please send it to me because it would be fantastic for me to have. Anyway, all right, so here we go. This is going to be a long read. Some interesting article here, though. Hideaki Anno's Kara anime studio switches to free 3D software Blender for future productions.
Ooh.
The studio is making the move once production of Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 wraps up. So, I'm going to say, Random 11, I want to comment so badly on what you said there about Premiere, but I really should just leave it for the first impressions. I will say that the 3D in it is actually probably better integrated than any other anime that has ever used 3D because the art style is very, very different and works well with it. But I get what you're talking about. Anyway, so the studio is making the move.
Random 11, what's your thoughts on the Canadian show reboot? Please continue, AC.
All right, so on a blog post on Kara's official website on July 30th, the studio announced that they, along with affiliate studio Studio Q, are opening up support for the open source 3D CG animation program Blender through the Blender Development Fund, which helps fund the creation of the program. They've signed on as a corporate member of the fund to help spread the use of Blender in Japan. So just to demystify that, because it's kind of a mouthful, even though you probably understood, Blender's free. Anybody can use it. There's millions of tutorials on YouTube about Blender, and it's a completely free program that you can use yourself. So it gets its funding through the Blender Development Fund, and Studio Kara is signing on to be one of the corporate funders of it to help, as I said here, spread the use of Blender in Japan. Blender is an open source free tool that can be downloaded by anyone who wants to use it for any project. The tool has previously been used in projects such as Captain America the Winter Soldier, Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U, and NASA's 3D models, and Ubisoft are switching to Blender for their internal animation studio in 2020 also. Now, first of all, the reason that companies are starting to use it, well, they're going to go over why in a minute for Studio Kara in particular. But the fact that it's open source is great because people develop plugins and stuff for it. And it's actually one of the reasons why Maya, instead of 3ds Max, was the standard for movies in the Hollywood and all that, because it has Maya as embedded language, and you can script and Mel Maya's embedded language or Python, and you can make new tools and everything. It's a very robust thing. Blender's kind of similar in that regard.
For your expertise and part of the trade, how's the learning curve from what you were taught to?
I have never touched Blender.
Okay.
Although I do know that Blender does a couple things like stupidly well, like water simulation, rigid body dynamics. There's a couple things that they do weirdly well compared to other programs. So that's one of the really good things about it. And you can do it right out of the box, which is another thing that's great about it. It's free and everything. In an interview, I can't imagine. I didn't know it was used in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I don't know where they're getting this. Maybe from the article we're going to read in a minute on the actual site. But see, I would think that if you're going to use Blender, it's going to be for the fluid dynamic or water water, fluid dynamic, or rigid body collision simulations, I would assume. But there are better industry standard programs for that. So I'm just surprised that to hear that Winter Soldier used. Anyway, in an interview with Engadget Japan, president of Studio Q and digital director of Kara, Hiroyasu Kobayashi, told the website that Kara will be moving from using 3ds Max to Blender because, quote, the project's scale got bigger than what was possible with 3ds Max. That is some bullshit. What they actually mean is, as CGI director Daisuke Onitsuka interjected and explained, that if we stick to 3ds Max, it will cause higher management costs. The annual cost for one license of 3ds Max for Kara costs roughly $2,400 every fucking year. So having a studio with 20 to 30 employees who use the software would cost Kara nearly $60,000 in just software fees per year, which isn't much for a major Hollywood company, but anime studios usually have a very thin margin of revenue, if any at all. And the Japanese are too honorable to pirate it like everybody else. Because honestly, Autodesk makes all of their money off of the major Hollywood companies that actually pay for that shit. Because this is way too expensive yearly for somebody like me who does freelance work. Now, they also show Grease Pencil here, which I am almost certain already exists in Maya.
That is a terrible name for whatever that's supposed to be.
So the main reason for the move to the software now is because of its 2.8 update, which, granted, I have heard it's had a major overhaul with a lot of new features, which brought a breadth of new features and tools that blend well with anime production. This includes the, quote, Grease Pencil, a new feature that lets animators draw with a digital input device in 3D space, letting them clean up 3D CG shots in real time. The animators can even import the shots from Blender into After Effects for the digital composition part of the anime production. Again, I'm pretty sure you can already do this in Maya as well. I actually don't understand why so much of... I actually don't understand why so many Japanese companies use 3ds Max instead of Maya. Very, very, very few of them use Maya for their production work. I mean, there are some benefits to Max. They have modifiers that are toggleable, and you can turn them on and off and change things with simple parameters. Cinema 4D has great stuff like that too. But anyway, currently 3ds Max and Maya are the industry standards for 3D CG in Japan, but Kara wants to change that. Due to the way anime production works, studios have to work with outside companies and even other studios to create anime, making it hard to make the switch. Onitsuka explained that production for Evangelion 3.0 1.0 will be finished in June 2020 before it's released in the same month, so they can't add Blender to the workflow just yet. Just remember that Crunchyroll included this in this article, because I'm going to show you something in a minute. But the staff at Kara and Studio Q will, quote, test Blender aggressively on Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 so they can fully switch to using Blender in future production workflows. You can read the fully translated article from Kara on Blender's website. So I'm going to read this to you guys and immediately notice that they say things that seem to contradict. But we finally got a 3D creation tool like paper and pencil, referring to Grease Pencil, I'm sure. The reason why Kara Inc. started moving to Blender. This is Blender, by the way. I don't know if this just happens to be a shot of somebody who had built Ava Unit 1. This is Unit 1, right? Yeah. Ava Unit 1 in Blender. Or if this is actually supposed to be from the work environment of Studio Kara. By the way, just because it's in Blender doesn't mean they modeled it in Blender. They could have modeled it elsewhere and brought it into Blender. But Kara Inc. is known as Hideaki Anno's motion picture planning and production company. They are currently working on Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 film to release on June 22nd. Kara announced on July 30th, 2019. It was titled Supporting Blender Development Fund, announcing that they support Blender Foundation on developing the open source 3D creation software Blender. Of course, it was not only a story of funding. Kara and anime CG production company Project Studio Q Inc. are preparing to switch their primary 3D CG tools to Blender. Blender will be used for some parts of Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 they are currently working on. Why is Kara moving to Blender? Tool costs, challenges to anime production. So, by the way, I haven't read this entire article yet, but from what I did read, it seemed interesting. So 3D CG is essential to modern anime productions, not only the so-called animation films, such as those from Pixar and DreamWorks, but it's now common for 3D CG to be used in many anime films. Okay, so animation films versus anime films. Got it. 3D CG and hand drawing make a great combination that improves productivity and quality of anime. Really, it does reduce costs. Kara is a company focusing on a hybrid of 3D CG and hand drawing. They are currently working on Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 with the same policy. They also founded Project Studio Q Inc. in 2017, a company focusing mainly on the movie production and the training of anime artists as the joint venture with Dwango Co. Ltd. and ASO College Group. Kara has been using Autodesk 3ds Max as their primary tool so far. Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 production is mainly done with 3ds Max. They are now starting to switch from 3ds Max to Blender, usually the reason being due to differences such as quality and functionalities, but Kara's reason is different. Hiroyasu Kobayashi, general manager, this is just a recap of the shortened version that Crunchyroll said. Told about they said simply the project scale got bigger than was possible with 3ds Max. We need more production resources from outside, not only from Studio Q. We need cooperative work with friend companies in our production. However, many of those companies are small or middle sized. So if we stick with 3ds Max, it will cause higher management costs. So basically, this seems very different from what Crunchyroll is saying. What they're saying is that because it costs so much to fund having those license costs to run 3ds Max, that because on any given anime they outsource a couple of shots to other companies. It just happens. It's what they all do. And if they have these 3D shots, they can't outsource to these smaller companies that can't afford the upkeep of having $60,000 a year going to Autodesk.
Yeah. Technically, you kind of want I believe you're talking about the in-between studios to go.
Not just the in-betweens. Like if you watch the movie, I think I don't know if I brought this up here, but I talked about it in the first impressions that I'm still editing. MFKZ.
Oh, motherfucker.
Oh my God, dude. The number of studios in the list in the credits is astounding. There's like 100 different studios there.
Wow.
Wit Studio, Ponoc, like all of them are there. It's ridiculous. How many are in the credits for that movie?
A lot. I know a lot of people talk about this company. It's the one that did crap. Darn it. It's the one that has like the batshit animation in it.
Studio 4C?
No, not that one. That's a good one. The other one people talk about a lot.
Gynax?
No, not Trigger. Darn it. Maria Holic. That's one of them that they made.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Damn it.
So, real quick, this is just a recap of the stuff about the licensing cost.
The Monogatari series is animated by them.
Oh, Shaft.
Shaft started way back in the day just being an in-between animation studio. Mm-hmm. So you can start small and work your way up doing that, but continue.
I said Shaft the second right before Otakuso posted it in the comment, but because of the delay, Otakuso probably thinks I saw his comment first. Here, I'm going to give you credit here. Shaft. Okay, anyway. All right, so in the past, different tools used depending on, I don't think this is important. Lack of artists due to high costs. In the past, Kara thought of moving to Maya, which has as many users as 3ds Max in the industry. We worked with data prepared for both 3ds Max and Maya for Maya users, said Onitsuka, but resulted in a duplication of work resources to have the same data twice. Now Blender attracted their attention. You're going to have the thing you just described here about having a duplication of work resources to have the same data twice, you're going to have the exact same problem with Blender, except that Blender's free. That's the only benefit.
Wait.
Thank you.
Wait, AC. Osado just donated $1 to the podcast.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you for that, man. Okay, so Car Digital Department CGI Director and Project Studio Q Production Manager, Mr. Daisuke Onizuka. What a great name. Daisuke Onizuka. You sound like an anime protagonist.
Right.
Except that they list him here as Onizuka instead of Onizuka, which is a much cooler name. As a matter of course, we can produce with the same quality and schedule to maximize the efficiency of our limited budget. Blender is an open source software and available for free. I'd have to look it up. I should have looked this up beforehand. I wonder what the rendering engine, the default rendering engine inside of Blender is. But because if I don't know if Octane is free, but God, that would save them so much fucking time because that thing renders so fast. Speaking of which, I have a render going. What frame am I on? 295. Okay. I only have 5 frames left. Yay. All right. And unfortunately, I mean, not that you guys would want to see it because it's a product visualization thing. It'd be very boring, but I legitimately can't show it to you. Anyway, so also it has almost the same functionalities with other software, so it was undoubtedly attractive to us. So here's the thing. What you want, honestly, is to have people in your studio who know, like not everybody has to know everything, but you got to have somebody who knows the main thing you use, but they also know Cinema 4D, or somebody else also knows Blender, right? Or RealFlow or ZBrush or whatever, right? Because you want to have those people in there because sometimes for the shot you want to achieve, a different program is going to do it better. Like Cinema 4D has these crazy modifiers where you can change a seed parameter. You could have like an explosion or like something forming together, and you duplicate it like 17 times for all the different things you want to have like forming together, and then you just change the seed number and it looks slightly different even though you literally just changed one digit, right? You just duplicated it. So anyway, you want to have artists in your studio that have that skill set so that you can just hand them the shot and let them do it. Then you render it out and you composite it together in After Effects or Nuke or whatever you're going to be using. While we still have the challenge whether a new partner company can use Blender or not, but at least cost-wise is much simpler. So we are proposing them to use Blender as we use it. No lack of functionalities are blocking the switch. In fact, Grease Pencil was key to make the move. Of course, they cannot switch the tools if a new tool is lacking functionalities for production. Blender's reputation has been, quote, See, here's the thing that's really funny about this. I'm pretty sure Autodesk is trying to buy Blender right now. Here's the other thing. Here's the reason I don't use 3ds Max. It's not the reason I don't use 3ds Max, but one of the reasons I'm glad I don't use 3ds Max is because from what I hear from people I know that use 3ds Max, it seems like in the last couple of years, Autodesk doesn't fucking give a shit about 3ds Max anymore. That's literally like the program that they started, that they had. Then they bought Maya from Alias Wavefront. Then they bought Softimage, and they just integrated Softimage into Maya and 3ds Max. They stole features from it and just integrated it. For the love of God, just merge them together and make 3ds Maya so we don't have to keep buying the same thing from all these to buy all these different programs to pay $5,000 a year to use to both programs.
So is this a sloppy Frankenstein monster that you're describing?
Yeah, but I'm just saying I'm pretty sure because that's what, as I just said, they bought Alias Wavefront's Maya. They bought Softimage. They buy these programs. They buy out their competitors, right? And I'm pretty sure they have their sites on Blender. And I think I've heard that they've been in talks and trying to get a hold of it. The thing is that the guy who runs Blender is a really good guy. I actually showed when we talked about the artificial intelligence replacing colorists. I showed a clip of that guy. He's the guy who started Blender and runs Blender and everything. I don't think he wants to sell because it's free. It's open source, and that's what he likes about it. He likes giving it away to people, and letting everybody develop it and stuff, which, to be fair, is probably way better, less bugs than Maya and Max. But of course, they cannot switch the tools if new tools lacking functionalities for production. Blender's reputation has been, quote, for beginners, or, quote, for students, because it was free software. However, the latest version has more functionalities, and the difference between Blender and the other tools is getting smaller. That's true. Kara had started thinking of the use of Maya 3 years ago, and also about Blender right after that. Kobayashi said, we've been watching on it and got the feeling that we can use it as our primary software. Discussing with Onitsuka, we decided that we may be better to use Blender as our primary tool than to use various software in the future. Takumi Shingyo at production department of Studio Q. So it's kind of what they're kind of banking on here, I think, is that Blender has gotten to the point now, and this is, I don't know, hold on. Project Studio Q production department, Mr. Takumi. He's using Blender, I believe. It's been a long time since I've used Max, but I'm pretty sure this is Blender. So you can actually see that they're actually using it in their studio right now, even if he's just doing an effect animation thing here. But anyway, the thing is that I think that this is what they're doing. They are switching to Blender because Blender has just released an update that has, as they said, closed the gap. And by funding Blender, by being part of the development team and everything for the funding, that they are banking on Blender closing that gap even further and even surpassing it. And by getting in ahead of time, because like I said, Maya and 3ds Max, like Autodesk releases a new version of their programs every year. So like in 2007, you're using Autodesk Maya 2008, Autodesk 3ds Max 2008. In 2008, they've got the 2009 version, right? And then all of a sudden, they didn't have an update a couple years ago. And I think, like, which version of Maya am I using right now? I am using, well, it doesn't say. Hold on. Let me open up the thing here. I have 2013 in here. It's 2018 is the one I'm using. And that's the one from 2017. They haven't updated it, so far as I know. And also, I'll just put this out there. When I click on the button to check my render settings, the crashes like 100% of the time. I cannot change my render settings. I literally had to get out my old laptop, open up my file in that one in Maya 2014, and change the render settings to then save it and open it in this one to even render something. Anyway, so the bugs are shitty. Anyway, Takumi Shingyo, production department, Studio Q is using Blender also for private use. So this guy right here who's using it here, I guess he's been using it for private use, so he's already familiar with it. He's the top Blender wizard at Cars Studio Q. RSI can help Cars' decision to move forward. Blah, blah, blah. All right, I think there's the grease. Let me know if you guys want me. Losing the war on the fatigue here. Meaning he's getting tired. If you guys want me to skip this, I will. But I feel Lace Blender 2.8 is intentionally filling the gap. I think the learning curve should be no problem.
Pretty decent assumption that the company is going to move to a subscription service like Adobe CC.
Mm-hmm. They did sort of, but what they did, this was really shitty of them. So Maya had a renderer called Mental Ray that came preloaded with it. Mental Ray is developed by NVIDIA. And in every version of Maya that I've ever had, Mental Ray came standard. You could render whatever you wanted with it. There's also Maya software render and Maya hardware render. Nobody uses those. You render with Mental Ray. And then in like Maya 2016, I think, all of a sudden, Mental Ray didn't come standard. You had to download it separate, right? But you could still use it. Then in like Maya 2018, all of a sudden, Mental Ray, you have to have a license for it. You have to actually pay a separate license to NVIDIA to use it, right? But they saw that coming. Autodesk did. They were in negotiations and knew that was coming. So they developed their own renderer called Arnold. And Arnold's renderer is basically the same as Mental Ray, but with some features that Autodesk felt like they could implement that other programs didn't have. And Arnold in 2018, the Maya 2018, has a watermark unless you buy an additional license on top of paying that $2,400 for the program. So you have to pay for a monthly license to render things in Maya in order to use Arnold for a batch render, which is a separate process that runs in the background, meaning that you can render and you can work at the same time on other things. I don't pay for that thing, so I use what's called a sequence renderer. That's where it renders the image, saves it, moves forward one frame, renders the next image, saves it, moves forward one frame. So this is, again, Autodesk seems to be falling behind. I don't know what's going on. They're getting greedy with their desire for milking you for cash. And the thing is that they can do it because, again, Hollywood is not going to switch until Blender is better than the programs that they're using. And even when it is, for instance, when my friend was working, he worked at the studio that does Futurama. They're using Maya 8. They didn't even upgrade to Maya 2018. They're still using Alias Wavefront Maya 8 because it worked, right? So they've been using that since season 1 of Futurama. They're just using Maya 8, right? Because once Autodesk bought it, they stopped going 8, 9, 10. They went to the 20, the year it was, right? The year following year. Anyway, so, but yeah, the thing is that, like I said, Hollywood Studio is going to pay that Arnold rendering fee, or they're going to use Octane or something else that they're going to pay for. But all right, so grease pencil, there's a key function. So I want to read this specifically because something that Crunchyroll said didn't sound right to me. At least I didn't understand that grease pencil could do this. I don't use it. The thing I do in production isn't rendering. I'm rendering right now, but it's kind of a weird case. I usually do character rigging. That's where I make my bread and butter. So grease pencil. There's a key functionality that brought Kara to Blender as production studio of 2D anime works. It was grease pencil. You can draw lines in 3D space directly with a pen, and not only by making 3D models, but you can also draw extra details in the animations themselves. You know what? I'm just now realizing I'm pretty sure I saw a demo of this in Blender. It is pretty sweet. I'll say that. You can actually sketch like a car and like literally develop the curves that are used for the isoparms of the NURBS. It is a pretty cool thing. So maybe this is not the same thing from Maya that I was thinking of. So grease pencil is a particular type of Blender object that allow you to draw in the 3D space, can be used to make traditional 2D animation, cutout animation, motion graphics, or use it as storyboard tool, among other things. Onitsuka, as for our work, we create an image in 3D and modify it into each frame as 2D anime. Right. Even a chief animation director directly modifies each frame manually. We also even add shadows with tools like After Effects afterward. Oh, God. One of the things that Blender does better than any other 3D program, actually, now that I think about it, is anime style cell shading. Because what you can do is, I've actually was planning on doing a what do you call it? VFX breakdown on King and Ashura to talk about this. But there's literally no behind the scenes footage from that thing yet. So, on the surface of an object, like let's say that you have a 3D model of this, you have what are called face normals, and they stick out straight from the object. Blender has this really awesome thing where, for instance, if you had a 3D model of hair, the face normals are going to shade the way that, let's say, an actual sculpture would shade versus the way that anime hair is shaded. But what you can do is, like, you can actually take a sphere and conform the face normals to a sphere, and then it immediately looks like anime shading instead. It's really cool. So, all right, back to this. I just want to get through this so we can move on. For example, if we wanted more sharp elbow in a character, we had to modify the 3D model and insert custom rigs into them. This was time consuming, but Blender enables us to draw with grease pencil after the animation is finished. Yeah, so maybe it is Blender that has this. They've had this tool for a long time where you could actually take the 3D animation. There's a demo that uses this really fat rabbit that's jumping around and stuff. And what they do is they use this tool. It might actually be grease pencil, where you can actually grab and pull the geometry into a new shape by frame, right? So you can actually make the ears that don't quite get there with the rig, you can make them look more 2D frame by frame and give them a smoother transition. It's actually really cool. And the more I'm thinking about it and remembering all the things I've seen over the years that Blender can do, I'm actually kind of thinking about why I didn't switch over to using it. I mean, I know I didn't switch because my actual production jobs when I'm working for things, they use Maya or 3ds Max, right? But seems like that time is ending, really. All right, so anyway, this was time consuming, but Blender enables you to draw with grease pencil after the animation is finished. I would guarantee you that the guy who's the specialist there, I guarantee you he showed them the demo of that, and they said, yep, we're using that from now on, right? It may not be the way for photoreal CG, but it's a good way for a 2D anime. This helps reducing rigging costs. Yep, another company getting rid of my job. Thanks a lot. This is why I'm switching careers. More animators who are not from 3D are choosing Blender as a, quote, step in up. That's a weird way to phrase that. Tool, not only because it is free software, but because of grease pencil. This is an important factor for our decisions. Studio Q is also a facility for training new animators. They are hosting a contest for creators award Q. More and more candidates are using Blender nowadays. Shigyo. Well, dude, seriously, no like aspiring artist is paying $22,400 a year for Max or Maya. Shigyo, we are getting more artists that started by using Blender and Studio Q. We are also seeing more high quality works by Blender artists from high school students in Award Q. Right, like I said, no high school students paying for the expensive stuff. Now, technically, you can get the student version of Maya, but it has this stupid, annoying pop-up that comes up every single time you open it. I expect these new generations to be the majority working at studios in the future. Cooperation with Blender Foundation to be leading user in Japanese anime industry. I'm almost done, Otakaso. Oh god, no, I'm not. Okay, all right. Let me just skim this real quick. Okay, I'm gonna leave this open. I'll check this out later, just see if there's anything in that final.
Oh god, she's gorilla.
Yeah, so
his girlfriend.
So that show we've been talking about, African Office Worker, has these characters been added to it. So I'm just bringing it up because I'm thinking that show is going to be fun to watch. All right, so this is interesting. Shinjuku Station dirtied up for Hachigatsu no Cinderella 9.
Oh, the baseball show.
Yeah, it's a show and a mobile game. So this entire thing is done using mud.
Wow.
Now, when I first, how do you think they did this? Just out of curiosity, what are your thoughts?
Probably sponges, brushes, and someone who's really, really enjoying playing with mud.
Well, I thought they might have used a stencil originally, but once I looked at the close-ups here, it's messy to the point where it doesn't look like it is. You know, I think maybe they used a stencil for the text, but I think what they did is they probably used a projector and traced it with mud. That's what I
probably.
Think it's pretty cool.
It doesn't look like mud. It looks more like grout, but who knows?
Oh, it's definitely mud. Like if you actually look at the images and stuff. Here's a video that somebody took. Damn it. There we go. Anyway. The text looks so clean compared to the rest of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. I love this. Japanese netizens went nuts over the cool advertisement. This is fantastic. It's really all dirt. Wow, they really went all out on this. And think about the cost of promoting a show like this. This is a great marketing strategy because when you are in this train station, you are going to notice this. When you walk past it close up, you're going to notice it, and it's going to strike you enough that you're going to remember this show, right? Or this, you're going to talk about this thing like, oh, I saw this thing. It was so cool on the subway today, blah, 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 right? This is a great strategy for marketing. This is not quite on par, but close to what they did for the Godzilla movie, right? Where they showed you almost nothing for the Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie, but they had those things like his foot is as wide as this bus or whatever, stuff like that. That was such a great marketing strategy back in the day. And they said it would have been perfect if it was dirt from a stadium like Koshien. Koshien is a Japanese baseball stadium that banned female players, which I think is the joke because this is a girl baseball game, right? All the players are girls. Anyway, so I'm not going to subject you guys to me reading that because I feel like somebody messaged me something on Twitter. And my phone died, so I can't check it.
Well,
where was it? Okay, so this is so cool, this thing. So an amazing Super Mario Maker 2 player creates a level that is also a brilliant 3D maze.
Right.
So the game itself
3D Maze House.
So it legitimately is a platformer, right? It uses all the graphics that he could get from the thing, right? But what he did is he created this. Oh, come on, get my way. So this is like a go up, go down, go left, go right, and here's the map over here, and here's the image of like what you see, right? So as it goes on, he goes to the right, which I'm guessing is actually up, or I don't know how that works. Oh, because the middle is the middle, right? I guess. Yeah. Anyway, so he goes over, and it's like the image up here changes. Right. So it's a pretty neat concept.
Oh yeah.
Creative idea. Anyway, I'm not going to bother reading this one. I don't want to.
Somehow they're able to make calculators on.
Oh really?
That game.
So Smash Bros. Ultimate's Hero, the one from Dragon Quest, apparently is way, way, way overpowered and is killing people in one hit. For example, here's like, look at the percentage, 0%, right? He has one of the like wind up. God damn it, you Sankaku Complex and your slow ass videos. He has like a wind up thing like Donkey Kong has. Immediate kill in one hit, right? Anyway, so be wary of that if your friends are going to play as him. Anyway, and Sekonia no Naku Koroni is launching on October 4th. And there's some new artwork here that looks so weird and not quite grounded.
Does it show any gameplay?
My scroll wheel is totally fucked right now on this website. If you consider this gameplay.
Okay, so it's visual novel?
Yeah, they're all visual novels.
Okay.
Anyway. All right. Now, I saw this on Sankaku Complex, but I couldn't share it because oh, that's just fucking wonderful. Can we
I know, and that duck's just happy and quacking in the corner.
Huh.
So.
Well, nothing explicit is being shown there. A YouTube person who got this video reported to them. So Ponsu Hunter Back to the 90s heads to Switch, PS4, PS Vita, which I didn't even know was still a thing, on August 28th. So basically, I'm sharing this for the art style. It's pretty cool. But the game itself, I mean, just it's really got that aesthetic. It reminds me, not quite, but kind of the Golden Boy.
Yeah.
Right? For the character
Especially
design.
like the swim teacher and the office lady, the
Right.
two inside there.
Yep, these two. But here's the thing. This game is not erotic. So just to recap, this is not an R18 plus version of the game, and there is no R18 plus content. In fact, the game itself, when the game first released on Steam back in January 2019, it launched without any kind of nudity or sexual content, and the devs made it explicitly known that there was no adult material on the game. It was probably one of the more disappointing announcements surrounding the game, given that a title called Pantu Hunter would surely be filled to the rim with panty shots, no pan shots, and all manner of lecherous behavior, right? Well, they attempted to throw gamers a bone with the erotic gallery featuring photos of the lovely ladies in risque poses, which was made available back in June as announced via Steam community post. Unfortunately, the erotic gallery will not be made available for the home console version of the game. Now, as great as a lot of this looks, I am completely turned off to this game by the horrible fucking anatomy in this image of her arm that looks so disgusting. Like they drew it originally a different way, and somebody who wasn't the artist, after the artist like left the team, tried to like fake. It looks so bad. It totally destroys everything about this game. All the other artwork looks pretty fucking good, and then God, this character's arm is a noodle.
It does have English voice acting. I saw the trailer for it. So is it going to get a physical release or just digital?
Yeah, I just said that. It's coming to Switch, PS4, PS Vita on August 28th.
How can one try to pre-order this sort of thing?
The home console version of the game. If you're interested in Ponzu, either grab a copy from over Steam Store or wait till August 28th and pick up a copy for Nintendo Switch, PS4, or PS Vita. But seriously, why would you support a game like this on the PS4? It has all the anti-gamer nonsense, blah, blah. I don't know. I think it's got a physical release. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't have any of these consoles, so I don't know how they work these days. All right. Anyway, Reese wanted me to share this Blood Blockade Battlefront and Blood Blockade Battlefront Beyond together in a horrible looking set that looks like absolute garbage compared to, well, it says artwork not final, but
there's more artwork to this.
It just looks like shit compared to the other ones. Blood Blockade Battlefront plus Blood Blockade. Yeah.
Looks like an inverted Cards Against Humanity box.
Okay. It's going to be fucking annoying when a third season comes out and people bought this and then they have the same issue that we've had with every other thing.
Yeah. It says complete series.
Yeah. So, anyway. God damn it. Why does this always get turned off?
Luckily, there's nothing.
Not that it mattered this time.
It, but nothing's released from that area.
So you got just
and Sentai is keeping their word. If they did a DVD release, they'll keep the DVD going.
Thank you, Sentai. All right, so we've got some new dubs. Oh, are you fucking kidding me already?
Yeah, no. It's like not even a year and they released an Essentials.
Oh, show by Rock.
Well, I'd see Radiant come out less than a year instead of waiting 2 years. I like the show because of the simple fun, but it's pretty generic. It's a pretty generic action adventure show.
Season 2 or part 2 still
part
book here.
French.
Ace Attorney Season 2 Part 2. Oh yeah, this too. I want to bring that up.
Show the disco. Show the volleyball. Sworn Disco had like 4 items that they announced.
It's a bunch right here.
There you go.
I think we're caught up, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So, Haikyuu, the 3rd season.
So for the
Why is
big
it
boxes,
purple?
aren't the first 2 orange?
No, the first one was black, the second one was orange. Sorry.
Okay, so
I guess it's close enough. But the purple, I'm not quite digging that. And also like the manga style cover instead of whatever they had on the other ones. I didn't know that fuck, what's his name? The guy from Hunter x Hunter. Hisoka.
Gone.
I was gonna say I didn't know Hisoka played
Okay.
volleyball. That joke failed because I couldn't remember his name fast enough. I don't know why it's purple. I haven't watched season 3 yet, so I guess it's the purple team. Oh god, that's wow. Okay, yeah, it must be a purple uniform for that team. This feels weird because I haven't watched it yet. Anyway, ooh, trading cards. I love how they give you trading cards of every one of them that's going to be made. Therefore, you're not going to be trading them for another one of it.
Yeah.
I mean, they are. The thing is that they are supposed to be like trading cards, like baseball cards and basketball cards, but of the anime characters and stuff. This is so much bullshit that, like, as an anime collector, I don't want this shit. I don't need it. So is this going to be, at least it looks like they're keeping the height. God, I would be so fucking pissed if they switched to Blu-ray sized height for season 3.
All your bricks in a row. You don't want high bricks and low bricks. Can't make a house. Can't make a good house with that. So is that the art book? Gray screen.
That I don't think is. I think this is the art book.
Okay. Oh.
All right, so Savage.
Sure looks it.
I thought Jackie Chan might be in it. I didn't see him. Anyway, here's the Blu-ray version without the special edition on that. So Hidamari Sketch, spoken language Japanese. So they haven't added a dub for.
I haven't added a dub, but it's all complete, very similar to a la what they have of DigiCarrot. Which, even though it says complete, it's like.
So if anybody can confirm for me whether or not there actually legitimately is something extra in here compared to what's already been released, because I already have the whole collection and like the individual stuff.
What was the details say below? After the about or at the end
Sketch picture perfect collection contains anime episodes 1 through 14 of Hidamari Sketch season 1, episodes 1 through 16 of Hidamari Sketch 365, episodes 1 through 14 of Hidamari Sketch Hoshimitsu, OVAs 1 and 2, and episodes 1 through 12 of Hidamari Sketch Honeycomb. Special features clean opening and closing animation. So it doesn't. I just don't know if this is all the stuff that I have right here. The OVAs.
Aside from saving space, you might have everything.
I probably do, and I'm not going to upgrade if I.
Hold on. I have all of it right here, right beside me. So you have Hidamari Sketch, 365, Hoshimitsu, Honeycomb, and Special.
Yep, that's what I've got.
All right.
Natsu no Arashi. This looks like
We've talked about it before. I'm kind of
an
surprised.
old art style used on a recent show.
When we looked at the article, I compared it to Brigadoon. I'm surprised that they went with this for the cover, but hey, it stands a little bit out. Or
Okay.
I'm curious about the show. I'm not sure if that has a dub or not. This one has a dub now.
That other one, I don't think it did. I'm pretty sure I just looked and it said Japanese language. God, Brave is going so slow today. Yeah, spoken language Japanese.
Okay.
But my teen romantic comedy Snafu 1 and 2 now has a dub.
Hooray.
So I guess I'll be rebuying that one.
Yep.
This blows my fucking mind.
I know.
I haven't had a chance to buy the other one yet. I'm really hoping I can still get it.
Oh, it's literally
cover and everything.
It's literally a year later and they're doing this.
It's retarded. And they didn't even give it new artwork. They just put the fucking Essentials thing underneath their grunge layer in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Like their scuffing thing.
Yeah,
Like,
spit
what?
it out quick.
I'm so disappointed in Funimation. They are not trying.
Yeah. Whenever you do get this one, are you going to try to get a Sega Master light gun?
No.
Okay. Because that's the peripheral that this show is trying to sell you on. So part 2 of this series. So is this technically season 2 or is this season 1 of the show?
Probably season 1.
Okay.
Episodes 14 through 26. One Piece episode of Skypiea.
Skypedia. Oh
There's
boy,
there's no D in
one
there.
of the less selling of
There's no
the
D in there.
specials.
Skypiea.
I remember that this art just taking forever.
This is like the most uninspired artwork for the cover of this thing.
Yeah, pretty much for this show, you have like 2. I'm not sure if I have not finished it. I've only seen like episode 1, but from what I've watched, you see the perspective through the owner. I forgot his name, but we're going to call him John. John, you see what he goes through. Then half the episode cuts back to the cat, which I'll just call him Garfield for simplicity. And it shows the life that he just, that same time frame through the kitten's perspective. Pretty much, if you're a cat person, this is definitely a show for you. I have not finished it, so I don't know where it goes.
Junie Tyson Zodiac War. Junie Tyson, that's... Yeah.
Pretty much, this is a fight for survival.
This is an
Survival
essential
tournament.
We've already talked about this.
Yeah.
I don't know why I opened. Okay. Nanbaka, the complete series. Gosh.
Well, it's finally getting released. I could have sworn this got released, but it's getting closer.
Yeah, I feel like this is a re-release. I feel like we've already had this out. And
Yeah.
Fucking Funimation. Make up
it has
your
OVA.
goddamn mind whether or not you're going to put the fucking double label or not.
Are you talking
Am I
about blue?
crazy? Look, the Blu-ray didn't they used to do the stupid double label thing? And now they're choosing not to do it
Yeah, I mean,
because it's fucking obvious that it's a Blu-ray. Finally, you figured that out.
yeah. Well, it even says it on the spine subtly on
Oh,
the
okay,
side
I'm
where it's
looking at it here
supposed to be.
Good.
It
They're
might just
finally-
be a different type
maybe
of
they're
model.
watching our podcast and figuring this out. Show by Rock.
Hooray! Finally getting released.
Full Metal Panic, I guess, getting a
Standard edition.
standard edition. Why wouldn't you release that at the same time? I guess you could get more people to pay
Sell
more
out
if
the
you do.
limited editions.
Radiant.
Radiant.
Oh, this is that French anime.
Yeah. I already said my piece on it. Glad it's coming out soon.
Here's the part 2 of the Yu Yu Hakusho.
We see more of what this would look like.
We did. We showed it in the last podcast.
Thought we showed part 1.
No, we showed in the last podcast. We showed like the the image of all four of them, where it was blurred progressively more as it went back. So
Okay.
Ayakashi's Samurai Horror Tales is coming to Blu-ray,
Yes.
which means we're going to have the original Goblin Cat story with the character from Mononoke that became the spin-off show Mononoke on Blu-ray with Mononoke on DVD.
Yep.
So that's fucking fantastic.
Well, fortunately, I got this show surprisingly this past spring.
This show
Finally
has
on
the most
DVD,
bomb like opening theme, by the way.
Okay. And as easily predicted as it was, Discotheque released this show, but we've already talked about that as well.
Hopefully
What's the
they get,
price on that? 30?
$25.97.
Oh, not bad. Oh, yes, the volleyball show. I've been,
Americana Receive, yeah.
I can't wait to own that one.
I can't
Blu-ray.
imagine it's better than Haikyuu because it's going to get lost in the bikini girls doing volleyball instead of the actual like sport of it. But we'll see. Comes with the web previews. Not
All
the
right.
directors. All right.
You say that as I cheer. Message from Space Galactic Wars. This is also created by the same person who made Kamen Rider and Cyborg 009. I believe Discotheque released the movie version of this, and it was recently picked up by Mill Creek. But the TV series is finally coming out, and I'm glad that Discotheque is releasing more titles, expanding a little bit in the live action, but I kind of hope the live action doesn't take over the anime. Then again, I still think in the future that a certain Shout Factory might buy Discotheque, but we'll see. See from that point. Anything you want
Stray
to say?
Dogs, season 1 and 2? No. So this is just a collection that contains both?
Yep. I think I need to get season 2 of that. Oh, this is a great show. Restaurant to Another World. Pretty much you have this dimensional restaurant that goes across this other world. And the chef cooks the cuisines that you can get in modern day Japan, and gives it to this world that's full of magic, sorcery, and swords with varying different creatures. And how they show the food, prepare it, detail it, and the reactions towards the food. Food makes the show feel a lot more warm and inviting. Pretty much similar to Food Wars, but not as sexualizing or titillating as you would.
Here's Goemon's Blood Spray.
On DVD.
Okay. I know so this doesn't have the art not final on it, but I don't know if Discotheque does that. That's something that seems to be on
Usually.
Funimation stuff. So I know Brady is smarter than this, but this image of Fujiko kind of looks squashed. Like its scale is not equal in both dimensions. It looks a little like it was squashed this way. But I'd have to watch the movie again to see how she looked. But I hate this cover. It looks so out of... I mean, I know this is the Japanese cover for like the special edition or whatever. We talked about that in the podcast I did with Reese where you weren't here. I think. But boy, does this look like shit compared to the other ones that they did. And also, again, the stupid smoke all over this that has nothing to do with Goemon's Blood Spray. Makes no sense for this one. Anyway,
I'm kind of surprised they didn't do the same type of art style that they did with Jigen's gravestone, since that was like in the same
Jigen's gravestone
speculation.
one took the artwork from the Japanese release too.
Okay.
We had discussed this, that the only thing different here is they added Fujiko in this image, which honestly, again, Brady, I know you're better than this. The skin tone on all these is like this. Look how saturated she is compared to the rest of them. She sticks out a little too much.
Jigen kind of sticks out a little bit.
Not really. He's
Like
got
I
the
said, a
same
little bit.
toned down color as the rest of them, and then she just like pops, which I guess might have been on purpose, so that you notice her, but your eye goes straight to her.
I like how all the men look very serious, and she has like this sex doll
because
surprise
she's not
face.
supposed to be there, and that's the point. Is they've got the face that you see in all the crappy YouTuber thumbnails of all the people, on every like vlogging channel. They all put like the videos that they're trying to make go viral all have the face, which I definitely used on my Kengan Ashura video. I specifically used the scene where I'm talking about my mind getting blown. It's actually not in the video, because in the video version of it, you see the footage I'm talking about instead of my face. But that's what they're doing here, like kind of thing, and it's kind of bothering me. Anyway, so Kimono Friends season 1 DVD.
Yes.
And this has English dub.
Oh, it's English dub. If you watch the Otakon stream of Discotheque's panel, they talk nothing but that about how they got it dubbed by Cadence. Bulls
really Voltus 5. I'm hoping. Oh, please have it. Oh, come on.
What are you hoping for?
The Italian opening. No, it doesn't say anywhere that they're going to have it. I wonder how hard it would be for them to get the rights to that, and if they would get it to 10. Maybe. No, they're definitely they're getting these made right now. There's no time to suggest it. All right.
I know that's a huge suggestion from the anime fans in Mexico for quite some time. Glad to see it. Hope to watch it.
So, a strange blanket from Japan promises a good night's sleep with the help of tentacle-like noodles. So basically, they gained inspiration from udon. And the idea is that you can sleep with parts of your body exposed and parts of your body covered. And it's kind of like sleeping with a pillow between your legs, right? Which works great if you're Japanese, because for some reason all the Japanese sleep on their back, which legitimately is the healthiest way to sleep. But this seems like not a good idea to stick your head through here. Although I'm pretty sure these are like Velcroed in or whatever. There's a way to remove them. So anyway.
I'm just wondering how you wash, like how difficult.
I'll show you how you wash it.
Don't say put it in a pot and boil it.
Comes apart. Stick it in your washer as the tube. Like that's how you wash it.
Okay.
All right. Take it easy with Pokemon Slowpoke computer cushion.
I missed the Frieza one.
Yeah, the Frieza one's probably the better one, the best one. And peeing Shiba Inu figures are Japan's latest quirky, maybe cute capsule toy offerings. So what's funny about these is that you buy these from the gacha machines and you put them on your figure display. So they're like peeing on someone. It's kind of like the Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes peeing on like the logo of the car company or whatever. Although the creator of Calvin Hobbes never signed off on that. They took it without his permission. Allegedly, as the story goes. Anyway, I don't know why there's a blue one too. It's creepy.
It drinks a lot of water.
You still wouldn't be. It would be clear, not blue. Also, swords of famous samurai reborn as beautiful kitchen knives from Japan's #1 katana town. So they're designed in the style of swords used by Oda Nobunaga, Sakamoto Ryoma, and Hijikata Toshizo. And they have a cutting boards emblazoned with the family crest of the three samurai who inspired the kitchen display. And in case you're wondering, this one is Nobunaga's, this is Ryoma's, and this is Hijikata's right here. Anyway, also, Japanese robotic tail is a furry's wet dream. So, Japanese researchers have invented a wearable robotic tail meant to help improve the user's balance, though critics might sooner suspect the invention to be coveted by furries so that they can better immerse themselves in their immoral fantasies. I'm going to read this just because I love how much the authors at Sankaku Complex hate furries. Researchers at Keio University in Tokyo explained that their animalistic device is meant to help those with poor balance or have disorders regarding movement, bound to additionally be sought after by furries in their lifelong endeavor to devolve into their personas. The meter-long biomimicry-inspired tail is attached to the user with a harness and aids in helping them correct their balance. Sensors and 4 muscles on the device allow it to move as the user does, providing a counter movement forceful enough to alter body momentum and center of gravity. Part of a project known as ARC, those behind the technology initially began using cat and tiger tails as examples for prototypes, eventually swapping to seahorse tails for greater weight for their greater weight and proving sufficient enough to influence the user. So you'll see if the video loads on this damn article that when the person leans one way, the tail goes the other way. All right, so he's leaning to Jiff. So he's leaning to the left, the tail goes the other way to help maintain balance, right?
Right.
While the researchers mentioned working with medical teams to evaluate the tail's effectiveness when it comes to correcting those with balance disorders, they've also explained that the tail could be deemed useful in other things, such as assisting those who need to lift heavy objects or for virtual reality. Citing an example that the tail could purposefully unbalance the user to better emphasize a strong gust of wind. I really don't know how that would. I don't know how immersive that would be. You know.
Applying that,
because it would feel like you're getting pulled rather than pushed, right?
Yeah.
That's my thing. I mean, I guess you could wear it on your front and have it push against the wall. I don't know.
If anything, it would be extra weight going against you. However,
this seems like a sales pitch. Like they're like, fund our research. Look, it could be used as a gust of wind.
Another way that they can try to cause an issue to stir up that this is getting researched is you try to bribe some runner to use that in the Olympics, and the Olympics will get upset because they would probably argue that it is some sort of quote unquote enhancement or something. As stupid as that sounds.
All right. So I've just noticed that an article I added to the doc didn't come up.
Which one's that?
So there's a new. I'll pull it up. It's from Sankaku or from Sora News 24. So just give me a second here. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna find it real quick.
I posted you a Twitter feed. Did you just find? Was that? Do you think that was like not in good taste to share that one, or
you posted here?
Yeah,
the word here. That's all you posted. There's no link.
Wait, what? I thought there was a link. No. I meant in the docket. We have the docket and the suggested articles below. It's fine if you don't want to
really?
share it.
I don't know. Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh.
Is this him talking about? Oh, he's just okay. There was something else that was interesting. I'll come back to that in a second. Let me just grab the article I need. Here it is. Okay. All right. So here's the Twitter thing. You were talking about his Justin Savakis fried his power supply.
Yes. And the day prior, he was mentioning that he was taking Betamax from a 420, from a 240 resolution, and he's trying to convert it digitally, and his room was overheating the whole day. The next day, this occurred, and he goes on to mention that he's needing to replace this power supply because for this older Mac.
Yeah, he said, I need this guy to run ancient software I still need.
Correct, because they haven't updated, or there's not a new software he can use, sadly.
I'm going to check what this message is. My message notification went away as soon as I clicked on it.
Okay.
Hold on.
This isn't surprising that if you have something older, you need to maintain.
Sorry.
Yes.
How's the stream quality, guys? Oh, it's a request. Who's sitting there? Message hidden due to suspicious content. Well, show me the dang. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to have to check this out later. Somebody wants me to join our beta testing community on Discord. Anyway, there's a... all right. Anyway. Okay. So what were you saying, Augie? I'm sorry. I think I interrupted you.
Well, it probably was just going on. I'm not surprised that he has to use use older software since they're not updating or continuing it, as well as just older pieces of equipment just go out over time, which is normal. The only thing I'm kind of wondering is, does he have like a hard copy of this software somewhere else in case he has to replace the whole unit and start quote unquote from scratch again? But
so
that's a challenge.
This is such a big problem with programs. Hold on one second. I'm just checking the battery on my. Okay. Oh, the left is barely even gone down from when I had it. Okay. So this is a big problem with programs. I have another YouTube channel called Cypherus MC, which is where the Twitter handle comes from. This is my old Minecraft channel, and I used to make visual effects integrated videos on there where I actually tracked the footage from the gameplay and put 3D objects back into the footage through compositing. And the program that I used to do that was a program called Match Mover, which came bundled with Maya. And that program no longer exists. I literally can't make those videos anymore. I can't anyway, because the cost of time versus return on my investment was like 1,000,000% over the return. But I don't have the install files for the old version of Maya where they came bundled with it anymore. So I can't install it on this computer. And the install files just don't exist anymore. It's ridiculous. I can't find it anywhere. I can't use it. And on my old laptop that still has it, I can't import footage on it anymore. I don't know if Autodesk is sabotaging it for some reason. I don't know why they would, but that's a big issue with programs. Now, speaking of programs and shit like that, so a new anime AI program animates your art for you when you add a voice clip. Now, I'm calling complete BS on this. This is not even close to what we were talking about previously with the colorist jobs getting taken. Also, I love how they made this this GIF here and left their cursor over the logo in the video or whatever. So Deep Anime is the latest attempt to raise the heights of automated anime production. Maybe I decided not to cover this article because the grammar triggered me too much. The lack of proofreading. I mean, illustration and animation are both types of drawing, but they're not entirely one and the same. Tokyo-based tech company AlgoAge is looking to blur the line, though, with its Deep Anime project. AlgoAge's primary focus is on deep learning and GANs, generative adversarial networks, which examine input data, such as visual images, in order to break down into comment parts. I think I mean component parts, and spot similarities and differentiating factors. This allows GANs or GANs to create new artwork that's unique compared to the inputs, but still identifiable as something that would belong to the same category, such as cute anime-style girls. We've seen GANs used to develop new anime character designs and Pokemon designs in the past, but the goal for Deep Anime is to produce new variations of artwork of the same character. After the human artist inputs a single piece of still artwork, Deep Anime will automatically animate it with mouth movements and blinking eyes, as seen in the examples here. So maybe this is useful to speed up production on your visual novel with ridiculously limited animation, but this isn't going to do shit for the industry.
Oh no, because you have different. Just because you type in a word doesn't mean it's going to capture the emotion or the particular type of speech pattern the person would have.
Obviously, this is iteration one, but the thing is that your head moves in anime and stuff. Like, it's just not going to work over there. But it doesn't. It also doesn't look that good. It looks like. Have you ever seen those GIFs that people make where they like take a still image and animate it?
Kind of like Clutch Cargo.
No, not like Clutch Cargo. Clutch Cargo is like they just record the mouth and like paste it on like an actual live action mouth. That's not the same thing at all. I'm talking about like somebody who does it really well is oh god, what's his name? Why am I blanking on this? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on this. I'm really tired. Oh god, Holden Casanova has an entire company that he runs that does this. He does streams on his channel all the time. Where he paints out like backgrounds and stuff and creates clean plates and goes into. He does a really good job with it. But there are like animated GIFs that people make where they try to make it look like a still image of some character is moving or whatever, and they look fucking awful. That's what this looks like. The awful versions, right? Where the person clearly just used the puppet tool in After Effects and didn't quite know what to do and didn't paint out the background as good as they should have. Especially the blinks. Look at the blink on this one right here. Totally doesn't continue drawing the hair over it, right?
Yeah.
Same here, I think. It just cuts off right at the blink. It looks fucking awful right there. Look at how bad that looks. Anyway.
So would this pass for Newgrounds?
What's up?
Would this pass for Newgrounds quality?
I mean, Newgrounds quality could be like a stick figure drawing. So yeah, anything is better than that. What's especially cool is that Deep Anime is able to automatically match up the mouth movements with supplied audio. Now, this is so incredibly fucking dumb because there's a program called Magpie that basically does this, that has existed for a long time, except that you use the phonemes, right? Because in Western animation, if like watch Family Guy frame by frame and look at the mouth movements compared to this. In anime, open, close, open, close, open. That's their lip flaps. They don't do phonemes in anime. They do it. So Magpie is like much more complicated, although you put it in by hand, right? To match the syllables and whatnot. But it helps you to set up the stuff before you do it. And I'm sure that there's probably an automated version now. Here's the thing though. What's especially cool is that Deep Anime is able to automatically match up the mouth movements with supplied audio. Back in like 2010, Autodesk Maya already had a feature where you could supply an audio clip and the animation would match it, in the sense that, like, for the example that they showed when they were previewing it was like the sound of something falling and hitting the floor, like it was a wrench in the audio, or the example. It was like the sound of, like, imagine a wrench hitting the ground, like ding 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 ding, right, and like hit landing, like it kind of bounces off the bottom, hits the front, and then comes back down, and like sort of, how like when you drop a coin, how it like wobbles back and forth over and over again until it finally rests. So you input that audio, and it finds the peaks in the audio where it's making contact, and it animates your simulation of it falling to match that audio, right? That's been around for so long, and that is so much more complicated than this, right? Anyway, input both your artwork and a voice clip in the program. Program combines them into an anime scene with voice dialogue. Video demonstration of deep anime. The results are impressive. I really don't think so, though a little too rudimentary for a full-fledged professional anime series. However, even in its current form, deep anime could be a massive help for video game developers, like I said, the visual novels, especially independent creators. Although I don't think so. I don't fucking think so. If you are talented enough to draw this right here, you can fucking draw the mouth scaling up and down and add the blink in, and it's going to look a million times better than this. It's so dumb. I mean, it'd be better if you could draw them. This is what they should be focusing on. Instead of having it automatically do the drawing for you, you should be inputting the stuff, and then they should use it to automatically animate it to your audio clip using the input you gave it versus the shitty input they're making out of it. Watch how bad that fucking looks. The hair gets cut off. Anyway, especially independent creators being able to effortlessly transform still character portraits into animated talking versions for dialogue scenes would save a great deal of time and money. Two things a small indie studios often source have, like mini games, deep anime.
Time for better quality.
What?
You need to spend that extra time for better quality. Instead,
like what?
I can see this being used for, like, if they want to see how a scene will go and have something animate the mouth and eyes quickly, just as a draft. But for a final product,
this feels like you can create banner ads for your 90s website.
Yeah.
Like many GANs, Deep Anime is a work in progress and still isn't available for distribution just yet. But when it is, it could be an extremely helpful tool for talented illustrators who don't have to have the funds to pay a team of animators, but still want to see and hear their creations come to life. I'll say this: no actual artist will use this, but yeah, if you are paying an illustrator to draw an image and you don't want to pay them to draw closed mouth version and open mouth version, maybe you'll use this and think it's good, but. Anyway, all right. So, 40% of French adults watch anime.
Ew.
A recent report on the popularity of anime in Western Europe has revealed that almost half of French adults are anime fans. I mean, that's kind of a stretch here compared to what they say in the next paragraph. Although the British market for Japanese animation is far smaller, the Japan External Trade Organization's recent report on the popularity of Japanese animation in Great Britain and France has revealed that the latter country has a greater number of anime fans than in any other in Europe. According to the study, around 40% of French residents over the age of 18, quote, have watched or are watching anime. That's not the same thing as being a fan. We ask them, hey, did you ever watch Dragon Ball? Yeah, I watched it when I was a kid. It was okay. Oh, yes, put them on the list, right? France has, although I will say France, as they're about to say here, has long been regarded as a particularly strong market for anime and manga, with some creators being more popular in France than in Japan itself. The British market appears to be in much poorer health, with anime being seen as a children's genre. Shonen anime such as Pokemon and Dragon Ball had the greatest degree of popularity. Anime aimed at teenagers and adults was rarely broadcast on British TV, although the streaming market for such shows appears to be growing in strength. Unsurprisingly, the study found that physical media was declining in popularity at a dramatic rate, and American-based streaming services such as Netflix and Amazon Prime were becoming increasingly powerful. Well, I look forward to Netflix going out of business because of their horrendously poor. Didn't they lose like a couple billion in 12 billion in value for missing a projected value the other day?
That sounds about right.
We've been talking about this for a long time. I look forward to Netflix crashing because of what it's going to do to everybody who thought, "What? I thought this was going to be around forever," kind of thing. Anyway,
Yeah. What I'm kind of suspecting is I know France is a huge market for anime, but I wonder what's going on with Italy, especially with the Evangelion fiasco.
Especially with their new government.
Oh no! Oh my!
So, the complete 1999 Pokemon card set pulls in over $100,000 at an auction.
Wow!
So it got a whopping $107,010, which you gotta think that the guy who bid $107,000 and then the last guy's like $107,10, right? Anyway, so all 103 cards in the set were graded Gem Mint 10 by the Professional Sports Authenticator (PSA). So you won't find too many sets out there in such pristine condition. So I'm going to read this because it's kind of weird. The ones that they talk about being like valuable, because I have all of them. So toss in absurdly pricey rarities like a mint first edition Charizard, as well as holographic Blastoise, Chansey, and Alakazam cards. And you can start to see some of the reasoning behind the lofty final bid. Look at all these Farik and Mon. Okay. So here you go. It's just a bunch of images about them. Actually, I'm going to look at each and every one of these real quick and just see if I see any that I don't think I have. So I might not have all of them as holographic. I'll say that, but I'm pretty sure I have all these. Some of them I don't remember looking like this, but because these are the first editions, so maybe they are like that. I don't remember the chameleon or Charmeleon. I mean, looking like this, but
that's what it looked like.
It's been a long time since I've looked at the cards. Trainer, Professor,
Imposter,
Professor, great.
Item Finder, Breeder, Daycare, Scoop Up, Energy Removal.
Oh God, yeah, the fat Pikachu. Why is there two here?
Yellow Cheeks, Red Cheeks.
Why was there a yellow cheek version?
That misprint.
Yeah, I probably don't have that. That's probably one of the rarer ones in there. But yeah, so somebody in the comments of this article made a really brilliant comment here. They said, "This purchase is unlikely a fan or player, but rather a hedge fund. Most tradable cards and art or coins are used as an investment. Ironically, players will not pay for this, but other hedge funds will. It is basically a form of currency for hedge funds. It's a Bitcoin that actually exists and has a tangible value. But they can be traded outside of many regulations. It is also why many drug traffickers use cards to trade for drugs. 10 Charizards is not money, but over $300 on hand, and you get a long stay in a box." So basically, they're saying, I think it means you don't get a long stay in prison or whatever. I think they mean like, if you walk around with 10 Charizards, as opposed to walking around with $300 in your pocket, right? If you get stopped by the police, they can't bust you on having 10 Charizard cards, right? You know, especially because most police aren't going to know what are the rares and all that, you know? But this is an interesting concept because that makes total sense why collections, like complete collections of things, go up. I mean, this is an absurd. Nobody's going to pay. I don't care if you're the biggest fan of Pokemon in the world. You're not paying for 103 cards at $100,000. You know what I mean? But yeah. I think that's a very astute observation here when they said that the hedge that makes perfect sense to me.
Because the question I was going to follow up with, I'm glad that was pointed out, was just because it reaches that high of an amount and that's what they won, is that what they're will the person who's selling it actually receive that amount? Because
Yeah, probably.
if the person who bids at that point can't make that payment, doesn't it go like to the next second?
Yeah, well, because it's for a hedge fund. This is a investment opportunity because the value of these only goes up. It's like investing in gold, right? Over time, these are things where, because you're not gonna, you're gonna put them in a safe deposit box. You're gonna put them in a safe. You're gonna put them somewhere where they're not gonna get damaged. So the value of them cannot go down. Right. So the value can only go up because they get more and more rare as time goes on, as the person who had, the other yellow cheek Pikachu, his house burned down and he lost it or whatever. So the value of them only goes up, and having the complete set, it makes perfect sense. Now, these last two articles, I haven't read these. I want to read these to you guys. So this one, Japanese senior citizen beats up adult son after he finds out he got tattoos. And this other one, Japanese Twitter in roaring dispute over father who refuses to meet daughter's tattooed boyfriend. I'm going to tell myself that these are the same guy, because I think it's going to be funnier that way. So I want to go ahead and read this real quick. I haven't read this article, so I'm hoping it's good. But so, skip spanking, instead goes with punching after body art discovery. Right now, Japan is in the middle of the Obon summer holiday season. Sorry, Obon. Obon is said to be a time when the spirits of your ancestors come back to the world of the living to pay your family a short visit. And the custom is mirrored by the living, as the most common way to spend Obon is by going back to your hometown, staying at your parents' house, and reconnecting with local relatives and friends. However, there are two ways a family reunion can go: a reaffirmation of how much you love each other, even when you're far apart, or a stark reminder of why you really need to live in separate places. Things went the latter route for Shinichi Takematsu, a taxi driver living in the city of Fukuoka, when his son came home to visit for Obon on Monday night. At some point during the evening, Takematsu noticed that his son now has tattoos on both of his arms. Whether the body art is a new addition or something the son had simply concealed during his last visit, the elder Takematsu was angry to find out about it, and the two got into an argument. Eventually, the father came to feel that he needed something more impactful than words to make his points, and so began punching his son in the stomach and face. In Japan, tattoos have long been associated with the Yakuza, and while it's unclear whether the sons were signs of criminal affiliation or simple fashion, they're generally not the sort of thing that parents are happy to see on their children. But what's especially odd about the incident is that Takematsu's son isn't some college freshman who just returned home from his first semester away with a shocking new look. He's a full-grown 40-year-old man, and his father is 67, making them both far past the ages where even most old school disciplinarians would say that corporal punishment or otherwise trying to beat some sense into your kids is an appropriate way of settling a dispute. However, 67 isn't too old to get arrested, and that's just what happened after the son called the police on his talking with his fist dad, as the cops also paid an Obon visit to the father's home to take him into custody for assault. Oh, and if this has you thinking that Takematsu isn't the best dad, we should add that his 40-year-old son was visiting with his wife and his own son, so he's probably not going to win Grandfather of the Year either. Okay, so the guy's name was Shinichi Takematsu. So the son has got to be Takematsu too, right? Let's see.
Possibly. I guess that's one way to get to not worry about funding your parents going into a senior citizen home.
Okay. Yeah. Japanese Twitter is in roaring dispute over father who refuses to meet daughter's tattooed boyfriend. So, by the way, the thing about Yakuza, they have very distinct tattoos. You'd think that Japan would not be as the way they are about this, because the Yakuza tattoos are designed specifically so that they can be obscured by clothing. Like this guy right here with the tattoo going up his neck, he's fucked. That tattoo is being seen almost, you have to be wearing a turtleneck, right?
Yeah.
But the Yakuza, theirs are designed to end directly at the wrist and directly around like the neck area and stuff. And so they look like they're wearing a traditional Japanese type robe, like the way that they're put on, so that when they wear clothes or even a suit or whatever, that they're completely covered, right? So this is the regret that comes from getting tattooed, says the father. Now, this paragraph here is just to share other articles on the site, but Japan has a texture passive tattoo artistry. While traditional Japanese tattoos are some of the most majestic and awe-inspiring, there's an undeniable connection between body ink and the Japanese criminal underworld. I just want to see if there's pictures here to illustrate what I was talking about. Oh, this is just one of their authors getting a tattoo. One of their reporters, I mean. And let's see if they have the... Well, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, that's not at all quite what I was talking about. All right, so back to this. This might be why Twitter user, I'm just gonna call it Kimi, an ex-police officer who writes about criminal matters online, has such strong feelings on the subject. In his Twitter thread below, he expressed his opinions. When my daughter told me, "I want you to meet my boyfriend," I refused. Why? Because he has tattoos. I am certain that when he chose to get the tattoo, those around him warned him, "You'll regret that someday." Now he's reaching out to me because he wants to marry my daughter, and I, as her father, am going to treat him like I would any of those tattooed punks. I like to picture this like with the hard-boiled detective look and voice. This is the regret that, like Clint Eastwood, punk, right? This is the regret that comes from getting tattooed. When one commenter, sorry, I have to know what this is. Love Live Tattoo just keeps going and going and going. Why? Why this article? Why do you exist?
Because it's exploitation of a show that the writer probably likes.
All right. When one commenter asked, "Why would you regret a tattoo?" he responded, "Many reasons, but on the societal level, there are many disadvantages. And you must cover up to participate in sports." But he had even more to say on the subject than that. My daughter insisted, "He really is a good guy." It'd be really funny. What if her boyfriend isn't even Japanese? What if he's a foreigner? I want you to consider this, though. When those around him warned him not to get a tattoo, he didn't listen to them. He was the kind of guy to think, "Well, that has nothing to do with me." That's his personality. And now that callousness is coming back to bite him. I just don't have enough generosity to accept that a guy like that can still be a good guy. While he got numerous responses praising his moral conviction, others were shocked by his unwillingness to support his daughter and her partner, especially when it transpired that his daughter also has a 4-year-old child. Well, apparently she doesn't make good decisions either. As the comments racked up, he became unable to reply to all the comments individually. Although he wryly commented that he would consider all of them deeply, even the ones that called him gross or an out-of-touch old man. He further clarified his stance further down the thread. "I think people should be free to get tattoos if they like, and honestly, I deeply admire those who get tattoos while accepting all of the drawbacks that come from having them in Japanese society." Wow, walking back your statement pretty far there. Without ever crying, "This is discrimination," at the same time. "I don't feel any obligation to allow my daughter and grandchild to get tangled up in those drawbacks. I have informed my daughter's boyfriend that I refuse to meet him. So what happens from here on out is up to my daughter. I expect if the two of them talk it out between themselves and decide what to do, then they should get better results than if I handle everything for her. My daughter has a 4-year-old child, so I just hope they can work things out in a way that won't result in bad influences or for someone so young.
I'm
His
not
words
sure.
result. What's up?
Go ahead. I thought you was done with the article.
No, 3 paragraphs left, but they're
Okay.
short. His words resulted in a deluge of attention, so much so that Kimi had to write another message apologizing for how long it would take him to reply to everyone's messages, including harsh messages such as, "You should keep your mouth shut and die." Great. Nice people in Japan. Interestingly, the responses to his impassioned rant were varied. Many people expressed similar worries for their own children and their partners, while a number of people shared anecdotes of tattooed people who had improved their lives. Notably, though, an overwhelming number agreed with his implicit argument that getting a tattoo would make your life harder. Even people who had considered getting ink in the past admitted that they decided against it once they realized it would mean giving up their pool privileges or that it might cause people at work to look down on them. Some laws are relaxing, and with the increase of small and stylish tattoos, it's likely the stigma towards them will slowly lessen. But it might take a lot longer for society to accept the art of tattooists than it takes for the ink to fade. Okay, well, that was significantly less interesting than I thought it would be, and I was hoping that they were the same person, but apparently they aren't. They didn't even share the other article. It must have been written by a different author. I think that my guess is that their goal is to get you to read more articles that they specifically wrote. So let's just real quick check. No, it's a different a different author altogether on that one.
Now, with tattoo culture, I know in the U.S., particularly, or at least from a corporate side looking onto this, they typically don't. If you're going for an interview and you have tattoos, depending on what position, some will try to not hire the individual because a tattoo would mean that they either have some sort of drinking or part of some type of drug culture, because from what I hear, if you're going to get ink done, it's a very painful process, and a lot of them get sloshed up. And
I don't think that has anything to do with it, the drinking stuff, because it's a drinking culture in Japan anyway.
Right.
With
also,
it's a drinking culture anyway, where they go out to drink. They get hammered all the time anyway. It's way worse in Korea. Their what do you call it?
if you have
drunk driving incidents, like people killed by drunk drivers, is like astronomically high.
Oh yeah. Then you have sadly for Britain, they don't have a drunk. Well, they have a drunk driving issue, but they have more of a problem with functional drunks, which is a state of mind where you're drunk, where you are drunk,
Functioning
but
alcoholic.
you're an alcoholic, but you can still function, which a lot of people tend to die from overstress and, well, alcohol poisoning from that.
I mean, I'm trying to find that article I just shared about the run. I need to add it to the doc, because if I ever needed to figure out which podcast did we talk about that on, I want to be able to search it, index it. Found it. All right, I'm going to pretend like we talked about this at the end of the podcast.
All right, that was
All right,
a great
so
thing we talked about at the end of this podcast.
We can move on to Lodos War. Or we could wait till FDM can join us next podcast, because it's 12 midnight for me. I'm sure it's later for you.
Yeah.
And my voice, I don't know if you can hear, my voice has been gone like this whole podcast.
Well, let's reveal this one question, then wait for next time for FD&M if he decides to watch the show. For a second watch for UAC, are you enjoying the TV series more than the OVA?
So,
what are your thoughts still the same?
I said last podcast that the series is not as good as the OVA because it doesn't follow Parn and D-Lit and all them. I completely forgot that that the entire first arc, which is basically up to episode 8, or 1 through 8 rather, of the first of the TV series, follows another like quest or whatever of Parn, Deedlit, and all them,
Right.
and they team up with the Berserker from the that one episode
Orson.
of Orson and Shiris or whatever her name was. And I actually think that that story is better than the OVA. But the thing that about it is that immediately after that they like hard left into the terrible decision of what's the name of the guy with the blue hair that's on the box art?
Darn it, has a simple name.
Yeah, I forget it, but he's really obnoxious and he's worse than Parn. And he's like, I gotta prove myself. If I do this, then they'll see me as a knight. They'll make me a knight. And it's like,
I believe he's rookie hero, but that's for next podcast.
yeah, it's so bad. So just to answer your question, I think it's better than the OVA.
Okay, because other points I was going to bring up comparing it to the OVA, the plot and characters are more cohesive instead of just jump, bam, we're here, we're there. You actually see a story flow.
The epic, I still think it falls flat. First of all, those fucking ending and
come on,
songs
Welcome to
are
Lotus
so
Island?
Good. No. The ending and opening songs, like the visuals of like Deedlit standing there with like the flowing. God, those are amazing.
It's
Why
like
do you
seeing
the rest of the show like that?
I know, it's like finally seeing the promotion art for the older Final Fantasy games in motion, which is something you never see.
They're so good. And the thing is that I talked about in the last podcast how during the OVA, you see the shots of like Parn and Deedlit on horseback together riding. And it's just Parn and Deedlit. Like they're just showing you all these shots of just the hero and the maiden, right? And then there's like that shot where they're looking off over the cliff to a castle that's above the clouds or whatever, and then a fucking dragon, enormous dragon, comes up through the clouds and lands and perches on this castle, this giant fucking dragon. And you're like, that's the show I want to watch. Then you get none of that in the actual show, right? In the series, the TV series, that first opening arc where they're going after the Scepter of Domination, which was a dumb plot, but at least it was better than what we had seen previous. They at least have the dragons, right? And they go after the dragons and they're trying to kill the dragons and shit. So at least they try to sort of up the ante of the fantasy arc, of hunt, like slaying the dragons and shit. But it still doesn't quite live up to the opening and ending from the first one, or the bar that they raise in this one, I think. So, which is a shame. And I'm really hoping Grand Crest War is better, because I think it goes Lodos OVA, Lodos TV series, Legend of Crestania, then Louis the Rune Soldier in terms of production time, and then Record of Grand Crest War. And if that's the case, every single one of those is better than the previous one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've seen I have not seen Crestalia, but I've seen obviously the OVA of Lodos. I've seen over half of the TV series at this point of Lodos.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Crestalia, but I remember Louis the Rune Soldier that I saw. So it feels
Rune Soldier is good, but in a different way, because it's a comedy. And God, it might be. I mean, it's largely the English dub that is so spot on to the comedic timing, but it is so fucking funny. Like, it's legitimately one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Like, for the TV series that we're watching, it's split up into two parts. You have the serious side, A, then the side B is the Welcome to Lotus Island part, or the Parn that you'll see in the tweets I keep referring to. Where they're Chibi. To your tweets. I haven't made my tweets.
Okay. I didn't make a doc for this.
I know.
But I will pull up my tweet because I actually did make a tweet about this. I forgot about it.
Yeah. So the second part is Welcome to Lotus Island, where they take the serious characters, shrink them down to a super deformed chibi, and have silly antics pursue. Very similar to Mighty Magisword. I think that might have inspired that show. So for Louis the Rune Soldier, it feels like it's a progression of writing because you have the serious silliness of the TV show, and they just learn to kind of blend it better.
I don't know if I'll agree with that because it's a completely different type of humor. So I noted here that when you can't properly translate Japanese puns, so you just make creepy sexual double entendres instead. D-Lit comes out here and says, "Hey Orson, I'm the spirit of the wind, and man, do I know how to blow!" Right? And it's like so in the Japanese one again, there's puns, and in the subtitles they have like a note of it, like they have in parentheses the word she says, and then the other word she says, and how you can see visually how they're similar, right? And then you get to this guy, and he comes out and he says,
"That's Lane and Chibi.
Lady, a magician moved in right next door. I hope he's got a nice wand." All right. So great job, English.
Great job. At the same time, what
I think you can't really do the. And by the way, the rest of this is pretty like that as well. Like Parn wears D-Lit's outfit and talks about wanting to wear
you did not laugh
or whatever. The King Cashew dresses up in a dress too. Like I'm not saying it's totally inappropriate, but anyway.
Oh man. From your tweet, what Chibi Slane was trying to reenact, that type of dry humor.
Rakugo.
Yeah. That's sort of a similar vein, but you can watch the sub to see what they were trying to do originally. I'm not sure how you would write that type of comedy in English without changing everything altogether, but
Japan is so strongly dependent on hold on, watch what I'm about to do. This is off topic real quick, but look at my color. I'm gonna turn off night shift real quick. Actually, no, come to think of it, it might not actually be. I thought that it was projecting the color, but I realized it was also doing the night shift on this other monitor. So maybe I wasn't as orange as I thought from that. Anyway, Japan is so dependent on their like Japanese humor is so dependent on their language,
right?
That it's very hard because those puns, like, they love their puns just because it's there's a cleverness to it, to finding words that sound alike. Like for instance, in not Hamtar, in Ibichu, podcast magic discotheque, please do that. In Ibichu, there is a gag over the fact that the Japanese way to say squirrels and chestnuts, kuri to risu, is the same way to say clitoris. Right, so they have all these jokes like that you literally do not get, and that's one of the reasons why that show hasn't come over here, is because of the puns, right? And it's like when you back in the day when you watched a fan sub, it was great because the fan subber would put the note up there and just let you know, by the way, this joke is funny because of this, and it's like you don't have to always dub everything or whatever. If you can't make the joke work, you can't make it work, You just come up with another thing to say, which is what they did here, It wasn't funny, but that's what they do, because the show must continue. You can't just stop because you couldn't translate one line, So anyway, all right. So, I need to remember, by the way, there's something I need to remember this when I'm not exhausted. I need to tell the guy who runs StreamYard the two features I need. I want the auto switching. Fuck, there's another important stream thing. Damn it. I thought about it at the beginning of the stream and I didn't bring it up. No. We have to pay to get rid of that. There's some. Oh, I have comments off. Shit. Sorry, guys. JT Master says so weird because Japan has a tattoo magazine too, and many music artists have tattoo. Yeah, see, that was my first thought.
In America as well. So,
Well, that was my first thought. Was that the guy probably like? What if the guy has tattoos because he's a successful rock musician or something? Like, but they don't give you enough in that thing. And the guy, honestly, the Twitter guy seemed like he just created a premise so he could rant about something. Might not even be true. I don't know. But one of my favorite vocalists has tattoos everywhere and was even featured on that magazine. People have been sleeping on will be super confused about what is going on in the second OP. It's a whole different show. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll have to take your word for it. So anyway, there was another thing I wanted to remember to tell the guy we needed. I don't remember. This sucks. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on the thing. I think that the story was much better, and it was really funny because I had originally watched this before Scorpion King came out, and so watching it after seeing the second Mummy movie, I realized how similar the ending is with the it's not identical to the part where the rock comes out, but like where the scepter gets tossed into the lava, like the ring in Mount Doom and all that. I thought that was funny. Anyway, but yeah, I don't really have much else to say. The stuff with Orson got a little tiring at times, where he's like get his emotion back, and it's like, oh, I loved you the whole time, and she's like, it wasn't great. It wasn't great, and it very much comes across like the crappy D&D logs that it is. You know what I mean?
It's not as bad as the OVA this time.
Right. Like I said, it was better, but it's still, I mean, God, the stuff with the other guys, I forget his name. I can't believe I forget his name. The guy with the blue hair, but it's
not Fang.
Really annoying.
It's not Lightning.
All right, I'll look it up real quick.
Word of Blue. Not Boss Doss. Or Papa Parn. How about Ann? It's not Fang.
Just with an S.
Oh, what this?
Spark. Yeah. Eyes of the Wolf 101. We're actually about to wrap up, but you missed.
Oh.
What was the most? I mean, I guess the you missed our discussion on Studio Car switching to free program Blender, which I was actually going to read this last bit because I read a little bit of it while you were talking at one point during the pick or the release news. Damn it, not that. There we go. Okay. So it says something interesting. One of the advantages of Blender is being open source. Anyone can develop and add their own functionalities to Blender. Regarding this, Kobayashi said development details are to come. Please understand that we are keeping a good relationship with Autodesk, not only with Autodesk, but also with other companies. We keep requesting improvements. However, it takes time for those improvements to make it to a proprietary software. We expect faster improvements by using open source software. I don't think the rest of this is worth it. Anyway, so basically, they actually go on to say a lot of the things I suspected and projected earlier when I was saying they probably for this reason, yada yada. Anyway, that's it. I'm like deliriously tired right now.
Yeah, same here.
Thank you, Eyes of the Wolf, for your dedication to the show. But I gotta get some sleep. I got church in the morning. So anyway, next podcast, I can't check. My phone died, so I can't check the calendar very quickly.
Next podcast, that will be
today's what
the 24th.
24th.
Now the 18th.
Yes, so on the 24th, we're gonna do the final arc of Chronicles of the Heroic Knight from Record of Lodoss War. Then the podcast after that, we're going to be doing Jewel Hunter Bemlime, and I believe we have decided to do Prison School for podcast 69.
Yeah, Prison School.
So thank you guys for. Why not? Like, what's wrong with it?
It's in a prison.
So
where do they go?
You haven't seen it, right?
What?
You haven't seen it at all?
I have not seen it.
Okay, I've only seen like animated gifs from it. They have some very clever writing to work with. It's just bizarre humor.
You do know who the English ADR is, right?
Yeah, Marky.
Yeah.
That's why they took out that one line. What line was it that they?
I forgot.
I forgot.
I know this is the worst example that this person's worked on. So, yeah.
Well, but the thing is that it was so bad that I think it was a Gamergate line that they took it out for the Blu-ray release.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So anyway, I got to get some sleep. Thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you next time.
See you later, and good luck at school.
And broadcast.
I'm turning